Welcome to ESPN's College Football Primetime, presented in high definition by Pioneer's Kuro HD TV. Hawaii, a relaxing island paradise of mountains, sand, and surf. But today the feeling is as intense and pounding as the waves on the North Shore. The traffic has been backed up since early this morning as a sellout crowd waited to make its way into Aloha Stadium for what is being billed as the biggest sporting event ever staged in the state of Hawaii. The Warriors are 10-0. A win today and they capture their first outright WAC championship and remain alive for a berth in a BCS Bowl. Boise State is 10-1. They've won 5 straight conference championships. A win means a 6th and perhaps sets up a return to a BCS Bowl game for the Broncos. 2 teams with it all on the line. Friday Night Football next. Stadium has been sold out for weeks, and literally it is shaking in anticipation of what Coach June Jones calls the biggest football game in Warrior history as Hawaii hosts the Boise State Broncos with the WAC conference title on the line. It's the conference ender for both teams, each a perfect 7-0. And it's the final regular season game for Boise State. Their only loss overall to Washington. Hawaii will close out its regular season hosting Washington next weekend. And here come the Warriors, 10-0 for the first time since 1925. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this great atmosphere. I'm Sean McDonough along with Chris Spielman. Delighted to have you with us for what WAC Commissioner Carl Benson calls the biggest football game in the history of the Western Athletic Conference. 2 teams playing for the conference title, playing to remain alive with a chance at a BCS Bowl game and playing what has become the arch rival for each. And Chris, Hawaii, 11-game winning streak dating back to last year. They're one of only 2 unbeaten teams in the country with Kansas. June Jones says if they win them all, the last 2, he believes they'll play in a BCS Bowl game, but so much to play for today.
Well, absolutely, and it goes on the arm of Colt Brennan. When you take a look at Colt, it's a night of opportunity, a night to break individual records, a night to get back in the Heisman hunt. But most importantly, it's a night to lead the Warriors into history, as you mentioned, Sean, with their first WAC championship and to stay alive in the BCS.
A subplot, perhaps the chance to resuscitate his Heisman hopes in this big game on national TV. Brennan played only 2 snaps last week at Nevada as he recovered from a concussion suffered 2 weeks ago. Coach Jones thinks he's fine and ready to go today. Meanwhile, Boise State, the dominant team in this conference. They've won 46 of their last 47 in the WAC. They have their biggest weapon back at full health, Ian Johnson.
Yeah, Ian Johnson is a tremendous college football player. He has great balance and great vision, a very patient runner. And why Ian Johnson has so much success is not because of his individual skill alone, but because he has a bunch of mammoth offensive linemen that play dirty and nasty. I'm so excited for this game. I'm telling you, in the famous words of Mills Lane, let's get it on. Let's go.
Perhaps the man most excited for this game is Hawaii coach June Jones. He's down on the field with Quint Kesenick.
Thank you, Sean. Absolutely electric down here. Coach, describe this atmosphere.
Well, it's very similar to when we played BYU, I think, in 2001, when they were a top 10 team. And, you know, there's a lot of emotion, a lot of feeling for the other team, and so I think we've kind of created a monster.
You addressed your team last night. What was the most important thing you told them?
Well, we kind of worked all year to get to this point. The last 2 games with the chance to win them both, and you know, the kids have hung together through a lot of adversity, a lot of different difficult situations, and they deserve to be here tonight, and hopefully they're going to play good.
Thanks, Coach. Sean.
Thanks.
All right, Quint, thank you. Hawaii has never defeated Boise State since the Broncos joined the WAC in 2001. Hawaii 0-6 against the Broncos since then. Chance for a historic win after this.
ESPN's college football primetime.
Become a pulsating rivalry. Hawaii and Boise State, the winner with the WAC championship outright. Chris Peterson and the Boise State Broncos won the toss and elected to receive. Peterson in his second year, 23-1 as head coach of the Broncos. Dan Kelly will kick off, the hero of last week's win at Nevada that kept all of their hopes alive. He kicked a field goal with 11 seconds to go in Reno to beat the Nevada Wolfpack. His kickoff down to Rashawn Scott. And he's driven down at the 24-yard line. Here's the Boise State starting lineup introduced by their outstanding athletic director, Gene Blameyer.
Aloha Boise. Our high-powered offense is led today by 5 seniors. At quarterback, Taylor Tharp, and at tight end, Ryan Putnam. Our offensive line led by seniors Dan Gore, Jeff Cavender, and Tad Miller. Go Broncos.
Gene Blameyer, the man who brought the blue turf to Boise, one of the signatures of the program. There was a flag on the kickoff return. Gene Blameyer in his 26th year at Boise State, director of athletics since February of 1982. The coaches have changed, but the program has sustained winning in large part because of that man who's given them what they need, particularly good coaches when he's had to make that selection time after time.
And coaches that usually want to stay there. And you look at the hiring of Chris Peterson, hiring from within, maintaining that continuity that is so important to building the program.
Well, the penalty was against Boise State. Personal foul for a dead ball, so the ball back at the 13-yard line. Taylor Tharp comes out throwing and hits Titus Young, the true freshman. He was swung out of bounds by Myron Newberry at the 18 for a gain of 5. Tharp, a fifth-year senior, first year as a starter. And he has played very well in the 40-year history of the Boise State football program. He is the first quarterback ever to make his first start for the Broncos as a senior. And the handoff to Ian Johnson, and he's tripped up behind the line of scrimmage for a loss. Michael Lafaeli, their outstanding defensive tackle, nose guard, made the stop. The Hawaii defense introduced by Billy the Warrior.
Stonewall defense in the middle. Number 67, Michael Lafaeli. The middle linebackers, number 17, he's nasty. Solomon Alamimin is behind that defensive back. He'll hit you, he's a hit man. Jacob Ponte.
I want him as a dinner guest.
Oh, he's the 12th man on the field. Team mascot for the last 9 years. Deafening noise, 3rd down and 5. Tharp gets it off, 1st down and more, out to the 30. It's Julian Hawkins with his 16th catch of the year. He hit 3 last week in their easy win against Idaho. They've averaged over 50 per game in their last 3 wins, but Tharp and the Broncos facing a much improved Hawaii defense this year, and they know it. The Hawaii defense is 32nd in the nation.
Well, if they get that kind of protection, Boise State's passing game uses the whole field, and Taylor Tharp will find the open receiver when given time.
Tharp averaging 258 yards per game passing, completing 69% of his passes, and he has one of the best running backs in the country to hand it off to as well. Ian Johnson, second in the WAC at 105 yards per game. He ran for about 8 out to the 38, where David Vekune, a fine defensive end, made the stop.
Well, if you're Hawaii, what you want to do is you understand what kind of offense you're playing, and you don't get upset if they move the ball a little bit. But you have to be able to tighten up at sometimes. But if you're giving up 9 yards on 1st down, that plays into the hands of the multiple Boise offense.
Richie Brockel, the tight end who doubles as a fullback when in motion and set. Play action pass by Tharp. They are a great play action team, and this pass is broken up by Gerard Lewis. Intended for Titus Young, the freshman from Los Angeles.
This is the biggest game for Titus Young. The most energy, the most atmosphere, adrenaline running He runs a nice route, and he works himself back to the football like you're supposed to. Lewis a pretty good break, but Titus Young gets the ball. Normally he does. And I guarantee you he will before the night is over.
Young was highly recruited, and a chance to go to Oregon. Washington State chose Boise State for the chance to play right away. Johnson carries for the first down and 3rd and 2. Boise State lost 3 wide receivers off their Fiesta Bowl championship team of last year when they went 13-0, the only undefeated team in the country. They had 11 players go to NFL camps, 4 players drafted by the NFL. So this success has been a surprise. They've been a consistent winner. But Chris Peterson said yesterday, we're a little bit surprised we've done this well, given that we lost 14 seniors and those numbers we mentioned.
Don't underestimate the value of the win against Oklahoma in last year's Fiesta Bowl and what that does for recruiting. And when kids see the type of offense that they run, if I'm a tight end, they play 4 tight ends and they throw the rock to the tight end. I look at Boise State. If I want to play and play early and I see guys going to the NFL, I look at Boise State. That's the program that they're building.
And there's the impact of the freshman recruiting class, the talent level coming up. They've always done a good job identifying their type of player, fitting them in the system. Now they're getting players with a bit more talent coming in. Avery did a great job when Ian Johnson was injured, as did DJ Harper, who won't play today with an ankle injury. Young and Austin Pettis have really helped the wide receiver position, and Brotzman's been an outstanding kicker. Tad Miller starting his 50th straight game, senior from Boise. His dad spent a lot of time the last few years in Iraq training police officers. Pete Cavender, a senior, takes his place at guard. 1st and 10, and it's Johnson, who's bulked up. Added almost 20 pounds over a year ago. He's out to the 44-yard line. Brad Kalilimoku and Adam Leonard made the tackle.
Not an overly big guy, Sean. We had a chance to speak with him yesterday, but very patient and allows his blocks to set. Then he has that nice little burst. Another thing about him, on first contact, he never goes backwards or sideways. He goes forward.
His numbers are down a little bit from a year ago for Ian Johnson. But he thinks he's had every bit as good a year. Last year he averaged 143 yards per game. And a flag.
75 offense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
June Jones predicted when we met with him yesterday that Boise State would have 4 or 5 false start penalties as a result of this tremendous crowd noise.
Yeah, and June seemed to be prophetic right there. Now what I would do if I'm Boise, I give them that same formation because they had Austin Pettis and Kalilimoku out in space. That's a mismatch that Boise will take all day long. There's confusion.
Here comes the noise again. 2nd and 12. And Johnson dragged down after about a 3-yard gain by Armani Purcell, the defensive end, senior from Pago Pago in American Samoa. We had a number of recruits from all over the Polynesian islands come here. That was one of the emphasis points of June Jones when he took over. Increased the number of players from the islands, and the talent levels come up concurrently.
Yeah, right here, Monty Purcell does a good job of playing off the down block. Shows good lateral movement. Lunges with the jerk from behind.
Greg McMackin's the defensive coordinator. He deserves a lot of credit for this tremendous improvement in 1 year. Tharp down the seam, and it is caught for a 1st down for the Broncos. To the 43 of Hawaii, Jeremy Childs, a 12-yard reception on 3rd down. Boise State at 54% for the year on 3rd down, an outstanding number, and that's been the key to this opening drive.
And the other key is the pass protection. Hawaii came with a zone blitz, and again, they're so stout up front, they were able to keep in the back end for extra protection, allowing Tharp to sit back there and just bide his time, and he'll hurt you if he has that much time, as previously mentioned.
75th catch of the year for Childs, 2 shy of the single season school record. Handoff on a reverse. And Kyle Wilson, who's a defensive back, put over on the offensive side to run that play, and it did not fool Hawaii. Dropped at the 44 for a loss of a yard.
You know, the Boise offense is so unique. They'll give you a ton of different formations, a ton of different personnel groupings, but they don't run that many plays. And talking to Coach McMacken, they have to keep it simple because you don't want to try to match wits with them because you start confusing your defense. So you simplify your program and your game plan to match what they do and play within yourself and your scheme.
He said we're going to try and play as much base defense as we can. He said I don't want 11 defenders moving because one man goes in motion or shifts on offense. Clark throws and it's caught short of the first down at the 35-yard line. Titus Young another grab. Desmond Thomas, the safety, knocked him down. That was the 11th play of the drive. And here comes another third down for Boise State. They're 3 for 3 on third downs on this opening drive. Jerry Glanville was the defensive coordinator the last couple of years here in Hawaii. He left to take a head coaching job at Portland State. Greg McMacken returned to Hawaii. He was the defensive coordinator here in 1999. In his first year has taken them from 93rd to 32nd. Here's Johnson. This time they won't convert on third down.
You got an interesting decision here by Chris Peterson. I'm on the road. I've had success. I'm playing for the championship. I have a team of champions. I go for it. Test the mettle of the Warrior defense right off the get-go.
And one way to stop the highest scoring team in the country, which is Hawaii, is keep their offense off the field. And we're nearing the midway point of the first quarter, and Hawaii's offense has not seen the field yet. Boise State is 10 for 20 on fourth down this year. Taylor Tharp, the quick hitter, and it's caught by Jeremy Childs. As he made his move, the defender Myron Newberry stumbled a bit, and it's another conversion, this time on fourth down. The play goes to the 20, good for a 14-yard gain.
Confidence in your quarterback. That's a tough throw. He threw across the field, recognized the man coverage, ran a nice little hitch, came off the line of scrimmage like he was going to run the fade, did the little hitch, and the ball was delivered on target and on time. But confidence in your connection, in your battery between the quarterback and receiver.
Jeremy Avery, the redshirt freshman running back, has come in to give Johnson a spell. He's rushed for 563 yards this year. He has excellent speed but couldn't use it there as he was hemmed in by Jacob Patek, the senior safety from Victoria, Texas, whom Greg McMacken thinks will get a look from some NFL teams when this year is over.
Yeah, because he plays the run, he's physical, and we know how important in the NFL when you talk about guys like Roy Williams and Bob Sanders from the Indianapolis Colts. You're like an extra linebacker with the versatility to cover down slots, and Jacob Patek is a versatile safety.
He had the interception on the last play of the game last week at Nevada to clinch Hawaii's win. Kept the perfect season alive. The dreams of an outright WAC title, which Hawaii has never won in 29 years in this conference. They've shared the league title twice. On second down, Tharp under duress and swung down way back at the 30. It's Jacob Patek, the safety again.
Jacob says, I want to prove you right, Chris. I am versatile. Not only can I play the run, but I can play the pass. Check out my pass rush. See, Jacob's way over here from the right. Out of your picture. He gets a good get off on the ball and comes untouched. They bring more than Boise can block. And all he has to do is finish.
Here's the 16th play of the opening drive. It's an attacking defense for Hawaii, fourth in the nation in sacks and tackles for loss, averaging 3.5 sacks per game. Third and 20. Tharp just throws it up for grabs, and it is intercepted. Jacob Patek with his third big play in a row. Boise State had the ball for 8 minutes, 35 seconds, and 16 plays, and it ends in a turnover.
We'll see the pressure right here from the defensive end on a nice little stunt. It forces Taylor Tharp out of the pocket. So Vikune coming in, and you see he throws off his back foot, panics a little bit, but Patek in good position makes a play when a play needs to be made, but Hawaii's been able to get some type of pressure on Taylor Tharp. Didn't handle it well that time.
It's the 9th interception of the year thrown by Tharp. He's 7th in the country in pass efficiency. 3 of those interceptions were in their only loss at Seattle against Washington. That ball is caught by the defender, Marty Tabman, but out of bounds. First throw of the game by Colt Brennan. Here's the starting lineup for Hawaii, presented by XM and introduced by Vili the Warrior.
On offense, holding it down for the 808 State, number 15, Colt Brennan. And wide receivers, number 7, he's Grady. It's exciting. Devon Bass. Oh, offensive line, they're nasty. Lead up front by Hercules Satele and Keith Asu.
I think they need to get him out of the mascot outfit and into a football uniform. 2nd and 10 for Brennan. Swings it out to Devon Bess. And he gets about 6. Tripped up by Kyle Wilson. And already some woofing between Bess and Wilson. Brennan, a senior from Irvine, California, sat out last week, except for 2 plays on the first series against Nevada after suffering a concussion here 2 weeks ago against Fresno State. He shares the touchdown pass record in the major level of college football. And his 13,000 plus yards rank him 4th all time. He's number 1 among active quarterbacks. He has a man wide open and threw it over the head of Ryan Grice Mullen. But Brennan not sharp there. Grice Mullen could not have been more wide open. There's the hit he took from Marcus Riley in the 4th quarter. In their game here against Fresno 2 weeks ago, he was down on the field for 5 minutes. But he said after the game he never felt nauseous, didn't have headaches. And he felt like he could have played last week, but all the attention given to concussions in football these days, they erred on the side of caution and still won the game as Tyler Gronke, the backup, was terrific. Excellent punt by Tim Grasso. And it's Marty Tabman who got walloped, but he crossed midfield before Timo Papule made the hit. Papule is a special teams demon. A 50-yard punt, a 34-yard return by Tadman, who took quite a lick.
He did take the lick, but I'll tell you what, he gets up and says, if I'm such a great hit, what am I doing still standing here?
Back on the beautiful island of Oahu. A look at the Ko'olau Mountains that divide Oahu east and west. State of Hawaii with fewer than 1.3 million people. It feels like just about all of them are in here with the noise that the 50,000 are making here at sold-out Aloha Stadium. Second possession for Boise State. They turned it over after a 16-play opening drive. When we spoke with Chris Peterson, their coach, yesterday about the keys to this game, the first thing he said was turnovers, but they survived the first one of the game.
And a good job of their defense stepping up, but really a miscue by Colt Brennan to help Boise get off the field.
Well, defense off the field for only about a minute, and here's Ian Johnson ripping through. He may go inside the 10. Touchdown, Boise State.
That's what a healthy Ian Johnson can do. That's the patience and burst. Talking to Hawaii defense yesterday, follow the pullers. They'll take you to the ball, and you're going to see the pullers come. They will take you to the ball, and if you're late, Kaliki Moku gets knocked off, and it's off to the races. Ian Johnson breaks one tackle, and you see the ability to finish.
Kyle Brotzman, perfect on the year, 59 out of 59 in PATs now. 50-yard touchdown run for Ian Johnson. His 16th touchdown rushing of the year. He's 10th in the nation, averaging 10 points per game. Over 3,300 career yards rushing, and he's just a junior. And second among active players with those 44 touchdowns. Missed a couple of games at midseason with a bruised kidney. And as we said, the numbers are down, but he's the same guy.
Well, he is, and I love the fact of what kind of teammate he is, because he took the 2 young freshman running back who took his place while he was hurt, and he trained them and brought them along and encouraged them. That's what it's about. It's not about what Ian does. It's about what the team does, and he certainly was valuable in their growth.
Had a look after the touchdown at his wife, Chrissy, who's here. Rivalry Week presented by Remington continues on ABC. Tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern Time, regional coverage. Connecticut and West Virginia in a battle for the Big East title. Others may see Georgia and Georgia Tech, or Oregon and UCLA. Check the local listings for the game in your area. Kyle Brotzman kicks off. A line drive down to the 6-yard line to Malcolm Lane. And he's out to the 29. Lane 5th in the nation in kickoff returns. Better than 31 yards per return. That one for 27. Michael Losey made the tackle. A former walk-on who earned a scholarship because of his special team play.
Well, it's this important drive for Hawaii. I don't know if they necessarily need points right now, but they got to give their defense a little bit of a breather. They've practically been on the whole first quarter. They need to get something going in some type of rhythm to help your other guys on the other side of the ball.
Ball spotted at the 30 for Colt Brennan. Familiar run and shoot set of 4 wide receivers. And that pass incomplete, intended for Ryan Grice-Mullen. Marty Tadman had the coverage. Here's Quint Kesnick.
Sean, a little interesting after that Ian Johnson touchdown. Colt Brennan stands up behind the bench, grabs the ball, a bunch of wide receivers, and just starts firing, starts warming up all over again. Tossed the ball for about 5 minutes straight to try to find his rhythm. Clearly right now, he has not found it yet.
Well, these receivers and Colt Brennan will not panic. They believe in themselves and they believe in the system. The receivers are such an important part because they read the coverage on the run. And Colt reads what they read, and that's why they're so successful on the offensive side of the ball.
Brennan 1 out of 4 for his career, 70% accuracy. Tavon Best gang tackled. It's another key from Coach Peterson. He said we must tackle their receivers and eliminate as much run after the catch as we can. That time Rashawn Scott did a nice job of that.
Exactly right, and not just tackle with one guy, because sometimes guys will miss open field tackles in space. But right there you saw a group of blue helmets swarming to the treasure, which is the ball.
Dallas Dobbs, the linebacker, has been hampered lately by a sprained ankle. Also in on that play. So here's another 3rd down for Hawaii. And a quick throw, a timing play, and it is caught for a 1st down by Jason Rivers. 48 straight games with at least a catch now for Jason Rivers, the senior from here in Oahu, and that's the longest active streak in the nation and the longest in the history of the WAC.
And what a way to catch it. They threw a nice little fade stop. Colt Brennan aims for the back shoulder of the DB's on top. And you see, they'll read it. The DB's on top like he is. They'll throw it behind. Virtually impossible to defend by Skandrick.
Orlando Skandrick is a good corner. Brennan with all day to throw, and he's going deep, throwing into double coverage, and it is caught. The receiver won the battle. C.J. Hawthorne, the converted defensive back, beat Jason Robinson and Rashawn Scott. There is a flag thrown well behind the line of scrimmage. If it stands, it's a 42-yarder, and it's going to be against Boise State.
Get extra yards. Roughing the passer, that will be added to the yard, but great job of C.J. Hawthorne adjusting to the ball. Defensive backs got to read the receiver's eyes. If he stops, you stop. Turn and adjust and play the football, and you see the roughing right there. It's a little ticky-tack for me, but what isn't? Right here, C.J. going up and making a play. Getting high in the sky.
Joe Bezikovich called for a late hit. Hawthorne, the fastest of their 4 starting wide receivers. Played cornerback last year. June Jones said because they needed him over there. But he's been a boost to their offense. 48 catches entering today's action. 1st and goal. Brennan, corner of the end zone. Juggling catch. Touchdown. Ryan Grice Mullen. I wonder if they'll review it. Looked like he might have been juggling it as he went across the sideline with Wilson and Tadman in coverage.
See it right here. Best low. Grice Mullen high. There's the ball.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't know.
I think he came down. Let's see. There's the catch. The right foot looked like, yeah, the right foot looked like it was down. The question, as you said, Sean, would be the possession of the football.
Yeah, when he first has it arrive, it looks like it's rolling around on his right elbow. Does he really have it secured? And is that foot definitely in bounds? Apparently the replay booth has seen enough to confirm the call on the field because they're not stopping the action. And the extra point is up and good by Dan Kelly, and it's a tie game. 6-yard touchdown pass. And Colt Brennan moves out of the tie with Ty Detmer. He's all alone now. More touchdown passes than anybody in the history of major college football. 122. We have a tie game for the WAC title. Don McDonough, Chris Spielman, Clint Kesnick back at Aloha Stadium, where Colt Brennan continues to add to his tremendous career accomplishments. The touchdown pass, 122nd of his career. Last season, a single season mark that'll probably never be broken. 58 TD passes. And a little controversy. That streak of 34 straight games with 200 yards or more ended last week in Nevada. Colt Brennan was not expected to play at all in that game. Tyler Gronke started. Brennan came in the first series, threw 2 passes and did not return. So he lost that string of 200-yard games, and he also lost his string of 34 games in a row with a touchdown pass, and that was one off Ty Detmer's all-time record. Kelly's kickoff down to Rashawn Scott. He's to the 21-yard line.
We asked June Jones about that, and June frankly said, I didn't think about it. And there's such a team-oriented guy in there, tight-knit team. I was just thinking Colt's thoughts after that touchdown pass. He was just glad he was able to get on the board as opposed to breaking and becoming the all-time record holder for touchdown passes.
Well, Colt Brennan said all he cares about is winning, and June Jones said in that game last week, Nevada had 2 weeks to prepare, so he played 3 quarterbacks in that first series to try to give the Nevada coaches something to think about and get them scrambling on their sideline and not have them feeling like they were settled in with 2 weeks to prepare. Taylor Tharp as the Broncos at the line of scrimmage. 1st and 10 from their own 21. Tied at 7. First quarter with the WAC title out right on the line. Ian Johnson for a yard. Carl Noah and David Vekune made the tackle. Pair of excellent defensive ends. Vekune, terrific athlete, runs a 4.75 40 and is benched about 455 pounds.
He's got a great get off on the football too. Good burst. That rear ends up in the air. He's ready to go hunt.
2nd and 9. Tharp into the flat, and it's incomplete. Big hit delivered by Ryan Mouton on Julian Hawkins. Mouton missed a lot of time this season with a leg injury, and his return has really helped that secondary.
It's a good break on the football, and really Tharp throws in the coverage because you see Vekune drop off trying to get underneath. Mouton reading the quarterback's eyes, reading on routes, breaking on time. Next time he'll go try to intercept that if he gets that type of read.
Ryan from Houston out of Blinn Junior College. Third and 9. Lots of time. A man open and a first down. Jeremy Childs out across the 40-yard line. That's his 3rd catch of the game, and that sets the single season Boise State reception record. His 77th catch of his sophomore season, breaking Mike Wilson's reception mark. He had 76 grabs back in 1992.
Again, I love the timing of this offense. That ball's in the air before Childs is out of his break, and it's very difficult on a DB. DB doesn't know. He's trying to get depth because he got deep third. The ball's coming, and he's breaking late.
Childs also has a shot at Tim Gilligan's single-season receiving yardage record, which is 1,192. Johnson dragging tacklers with him to the 45 for a gain of 4. 2.5 minutes to go in an eventful first quarter. Here's Quint.
A quick update, Sean, on the Boise offensive front. Tad Miller, senior left guard, done for the day. Enter the Cavender twins. Jeff moves from center to left guard. Pete is inserted at center. You talk about guys who are close to one another, who have continuity in the womb at birth, and now alongside each other in the biggest game of their lives.
Well, it's hard to get Miller off the field. He started 50 straight games, as has Jeff Cavender, right alongside him. And now Brother Pete moves into the other guard. Under duress, the pass batted down and almost intercepted. Knocked down by Keala Watson. And it'll be third down.
Sean, this is Boise's biggest test. We talk about this being Hawaii's biggest test. Boise has not faced a defense in or out of the conference with the speed and the tenacity of the Warrior defense. And they just keep coming and coming and coming. And they're getting the pass rush, disrupting the timing of this Boise offense, especially on the short passing game.
Big play there by Watson, a good student. 3.6 grade point average in environmental studies. 3rd and 6, and far incomplete. Looking for Titus Young at midfield. Ryan Mouton again had the coverage.
Might want to play that again. I wouldn't, though, because you only had 10 defenders out on the field. And they got away with one right there, and I'm surprised that Boise did pick that up. We're only able to rush 3. You had a defensive lineman or linebacker run out late. We're going to see a player run out late. You have a player running out late. That relieves 10. You only have 3 guys rushing. Pretty darn good coverage. You might want to go back to that, Coach Mack. I wouldn't.
Brotzman has become the punter as well. Earlier in the year, Brad Elkin was their punter, but Brotzman, the low rugby style punt, and it's going to be a beauty. Rolling down near the 5. And down by Austin Smith at the 4-yard line, a 50-yard punt. Though it is rivalry week presented by Remington, and another bitter rivalry renewed on ESPN2 with the ACC Coastal Division Championship tomorrow. The right to meet Boston College in the ACC Championship game. Frank Beamer leads his Virginia Tech Hokies into beautiful Charlottesville to take on Al Groh's Virginia Cavaliers. College football presented by Cars.com Saturday at noon, and we'll visit shortly with Al Groh, whose team is 13th in the nation in sacks. We both like Virginia to win. Of course, we weren't going to pick Virginia Tech, and we're going to have Al Groh on. That would be impolite.
I've done that game. It's an intense battle. If you haven't seen Chris Long play, you're in for a treat.
Great defensive lineman, son of Howie Long, a certain early first-round pick. Ryan Grice Mullen wide open and out to the 33-yard line. They got out of the hole in a hurry on a 29-yard strike thrown by Colt Brennan.
You know, Colt gets criticized a little bit by those who don't see him play every week and don't watch the film. I'm telling you, he's the most accurate passer in college football. There's a throw that he can't make, and I realize he's a system guy. He realizes he's a system guy, but guess what? You still have to deliver the ball with some velocity and on target, and he does.
June Jones played quarterback in the NFL, coached quarterbacks, was a head coach in the NFL, and he compares Brennan's accuracy to Dan Marino and Jeff George. Here's Jason Rivers cutting across the field. He paid the price for his 8-yard gain. Nick Schleckaway sent him Schleckaway to the turf.
I mean, if you're going to run close and you're playing against a hustling hoss like Schleckaway, I mean, Big Schleckaway is not going to run that far and not hit something. And wow. Just how you're supposed to do it. Brought that cast. It looked like he brought the cast as an extra little weapon to help bring him down. Had a way to play, Nick. Way to run.
Local guy from the Boise area. 3-year starter. Graduated from Eagle High School. #1 in his class with a perfect 4.0 grade point average. Just like Chris Spielman. 2nd and 2. Brennan on target again. First down out to the 49-yard line to Jason Rivers. who missed some practice time this week with a headache. He took a shot last week at Nevada and did not practice a couple of days ago. Brandon Thompson took him out of bounds.
We were at practice yesterday morning, and we're watching the receivers. They have all quarterbacks in their warm-up drills. Everybody runs their routes, and all the quarterbacks throw the ball. That ball does not hit the ground, no matter who the quarterback is or who the receiver is. And that's the standard that June has set for his receivers and quarterbacks. Perfection, and they're pretty close to it.
Final seconds of the opening quarter. 1st and 10 Hawaii from its own 49-yard line. The winner wins the WAC title outright. Jason Rivers battling at 6'2", 189 pounds. Kyle Ging and Jason Robinson made the tackle. Robinson starting at safety today for Jerron Johnson, who is out with a hip and back injury. A gain of 15 and a first down.
Now this is what the Warrior offense does. They hit you on the 8-yard route. They hit you on the 12-yard, 8-yard, 12-yard, and before you know it, there goes the 32 or 40-yard route over your head. So you got to stay disciplined and be patient. Right now they're finding a hole between the safeties and the linebackers.
Likely the final play of the first quarter if they get it off, and they will not. Great atmosphere. It is a title game, and the atmosphere reflects it. Boise State scored first. Ian Johnson, a 50-yard touchdown run to make it 7-0 Broncos. But Colt Brennan set another record with a touchdown pass to tie it to Ryan Bryce Muller. Ready for the start of the second quarter. In that first quarter, which ended at 7-all, Hawaii threw 12 passes. Did not run one running play. This possession started at their own 5. They've moved the ball 59 yards in 4 plays as Brennan is 4 for 4 in the drive. The last 3 have gone to Rivers. Colt can run. He's across the line. You know they have to have their hearts in their throats as he runs 2 weeks after that concussion. But he ran for 12 and a first down before Kyle Ging got him on the ground.
Yeah, a couple reasons why he goes for 12. David Farmer has been in there a lot to help with pass protection. He's the big S-back, the super back, what's called a run and shoot. Plus, Boise's going to play a lot of man-to-man. They feel like they can go athlete for athlete. Well, if you break to the second level, they're in man-to-man. Everybody's backs are turned. Colt can hurt you and will hurt you with his feet, but he's got to learn to slide, Sean.
That'll go in the books as their first run, but obviously it was intended to be a pass play. On the 24 of Boise State. 1st and 10 Hawaii. Quick little hitter to C.J. Hawthorne. He can fly. Upended and down at the 1. Orlando Scandrick came off his man in the end zone and ran out just outside the goal line to save the touchdown. 23 yards, 1st and goal, Hawaii.
You might ask yourself why Scandrick was so late coming off, because what they're doing is they're playing zone to the 3 receiver side and manning up the backside. Once C.J. Hawthorne gets to the man side, Scandrick is still trying to take Rivers and allows Hawthorne to get to the 2. But speed kills.
Boise State does historically play more man-to-man defense against Hawaii than most of the teams the Warriors play.
When they're in a 3-1 look, 3 receivers to one side, 1 receiver to the other, they will zone the 3 receiver side and put Scandrick and lock him out on Rivers man-to-man. That's why he was so late coming to help on the pursuit of the tackle.
We're going to review the play. Was it a touchdown? He extended the ball. Did he get it across the plane before his elbow went down?
And remember, and we all know this, but the ball just has to break the plane in the air. It's going to be a close call.
Well, his right, his hands on the ground. Tough to tell.
Great effort. You can see the Hawaii kids are playing for something.
Elbow down. I don't think the ball was across.
I think it was a good
just
spot.
Shy, but I think they're going to leave it where it is, just shy of the end zone.
Even the replay officials have the Aloha spirit.
Yeah.
Michael Goshima, the replay official. Philip Akana, the communicator. And now the referee, Gerald Wright.
After review, video confirmed the ruling on the field. First down.
Yep, but not a touchdown, just short. This is a crew made up of officials from the Big 12, Mountain West, and WAC. These three conferences form one officiating crew, pooling officials from each. And I hope it's the trend. No longer we hear, well, in a non-conference game, these are WAC officials, or these are Big East officials. They'd like to see a collective effort. Brennan keeps and scores. Touchdown, Hawaii. Brennan's 8th rushing touchdown of the season. And Kelly's extra point is blocked. This has happened in the past in these Boise State games against Hawaii. They returned a blocked extra point for 2 points last year. That ball got knocked out of bounds after Kyle Ging picked it up. So this is history repeating itself. And it's the 10th block kick by the Broncos this year. Kyle Wilson blocked it.
So Kyle Wilson coming inside and gets waylaid from the backside. But you want to protect your inside gap. They'll never block it from around end, but they will block it inside.
Boise State with 10 blocks this year. That is their second blocked extra point. Wilson, the man who blocked it, is still down. Well, good news as we welcome you back to Honolulu. Kyle Wilson, injured after blocking the extra point, got up and walked off the field under his own power and appears to be okay. For the last couple of years, when Hawaii has lost a 7-point game and a 3-point game to Boise State, problems on special teams have really played a huge role, and this has to feel like deja vu for June Jones.
Yeah, you get the feeling the way this game's going, and every point matters.
And Kelly, who had the extra point block, kicks it off, and it's Rashawn Scott from the 8 across the 30 to the 31-yard line. Well, it's already been quite a weekend in college football, and it is rivalry week. A lot of great rivalries being renewed around the country. And a big matchup in Charlottesville, Virginia tomorrow, the 89th meeting all time between Virginia and Virginia Tech. The rivalry dates back to 1895, and we're pleased to welcome to our telecast the outstanding head coach of the Virginia Cavaliers, in my opinion, leading candidate to be the ACC Coach of the Year and win some National Coach of the Year honors as well. Al Groh joins us with his team 9-2. And playing much as we have here today for a title. These two teams playing for the WAC title, and Virginia Tech playing for the Coastal Division Championship and the right to play in the ACC title game against Boston College. Tharp throws it to Ian Johnson, and he goes for 13. Coach, first of all, congratulations on what's been an excellent season so far. You're 9-2, and you've had kind of the high wire act. You've had 5 wins by 2 points or less. That's an NCAA record. If you're surprised by what your team's accomplished so far this year.
Sean, this team has had a very strong sense of purpose and a strong will to win from the start. So we anticipated that we'd have a good team. And I didn't know that we could put a number on it, but we thought we'd have a good club.
Jeremy Avery in a running back now on 1st and 10 from the 43 for Boise State. The play action pass for Taylor Tharp. And a completion to one of the 4 tight ends they use regularly. That's Richie Brockle for another first down. Boise State trying to answer quickly after Hawaii has taken the lead. Al, talk a little bit, if you would, about the rivalry. I know in recent years Virginia Tech has had the upper hand, but how important is this to both programs? And it is an in-state game. Does it have much of an impact on recruiting?
Well, I've never known a recruit pick the result program as a result of this. I think as long as you have a solid program and you develop a relationship with a player, That's probably the key thing. But obviously, everything good that happens to you is a positive in that respect.
Ian Johnson carries down to the 40-yard line, a gain of 4.
Coach, the psyche of the team after the loss to Wyoming. I know you knew you'd have a good team, but how pleased were you when they bounced back from that loss? A tough loss.
Well, we had a lot of bouncing back to do from last season overall, Chris, and it was really actually last year that the heart of this team began to show. And obviously we were concerned, as were everybody in the organization, but we really had a lot of belief and trust in each other, and it's paid off.
On 2nd and 6, Ian Johnson for a couple to the 38. We saw the results for Virginia this year. Opened on the road at Wyoming. And I know some people were giving you a hard time, Coach, but then the 7 straight wins, a lot of them close. The loss to an improving NC State team here late in the year. Another narrow win. And then you went down to the Orange Bowl in the last game for Miami. And to a lot of us, that was a startling score. 48-0 to close that building. Well, what happened there?
Well, we've obviously put every aspect of our game together, Sean, and we got contributions from all different parts of the team and from many players, and it was just one of those nights that everything went very positively for us.
Tharp throws to Jeremy Childs for a first down. Another 3rd down conversion for Boise State. They're to the 28-yard line. 1st and 10. Tomorrow, Virginia Tech. Chance to get into the ACC championship game if you could win that one into a BCS bowl game. What do you think will be the keys to playing Coach Beamer's club tomorrow?
Well, I think this is one of the best teams that's come into Scott Stadium in a long, long time, Sean, and they've got a number of guys that are really kind of guys that can wreak havoc with you in game records, and key thing for us will be to somehow try to find a way to quiet those guys down.
Coach, when you look at Chris Long, what kind of player is he and project him to the next level? I think he's special. He's something fun to watch.
Chris, he is a marvelous player, and he's the kind of guy I know that you would have enjoyed playing with, because besides being a wonderful, wonderful player, he's a great teammate. Nothing's more important to him than his team and how his team wins. And when your best player has that attitude towards about unselfishness, and then the most important thing is the team, then obviously that sets the tone for your whole club.
We're visiting with Al Groh, the head coach at the University of Virginia. His team of the big game tomorrow is part of Rivalry Week presented by Remington on ESPN2 at noon tomorrow, as it's Virginia and Virginia Tech to win its division of the ACC and play Boston College in the championship game. Al, a lot of talk here about Hawaii undefeated, but not seemingly getting a lot of love from the pollsters. They've won 3 games in a row and actually dropped in some of the polls. You've had a chance to see them. I know you follow college football pretty closely when you're not immersed in your own team, but what are your impressions of what you've seen from Hawaii watching the game here tonight?
Very impressed with both of them. It's so hard to win a college football game that when you've got 11, 12 wins during the course of a season, that really gets my impression. I'm very respectful of what both these teams have done.
Flag down as Taylor Tharp was forced to scramble and threw an incomplete pass, but there is a flag back behind the line of scrimmage. Well, Coach, we're going to let you enjoy the rest of the evening. Our best to you and your lovely wife Ann and your family. We hope it was a great Thanksgiving for the Grohs, and good luck tomorrow. We appreciate you being so generous with your time on the eve of a big game.
Sean, Chris, nice to speak with you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Al. Good luck. Al Groh. What a job he's done. At the beginning of the season, they weren't on too many people's radar screen. Here they are 9-2.
Especially after that loss.
75 offense. 10-yard penalty, previous spot. Replay, first down.
To Wyoming, it shows leadership. The kids respond to leadership. First from the head coach, then to the leaders on the football team. They certainly responded in a big way.
There's the hold. Right in the middle of your screen. And Hawaii elected to take the penalty, so the ball's back just inside the 38-yard line. Chris Peterson, 42 years old, out of UC Davis, where he's an outstanding all-conference quarterback, and is in the UC Davis Hall of Fame, an '88 grad of UC Davis. Jeremy Avery straight ahead, and the redshirt freshman stopped after a gain of 3. Coach Peterson was the offensive coordinator, then elevated to head coach when Dan Hawkins left and went to Colorado. And all Chris has done is win 23 out of 24 in his 2 seasons. Had the only undefeated team in the country last year. First coach since 1900 to win 13 in his first year.
Just an amazing job and just building on the system and living up to the traditions and standards that were set before him.
He really got a lot of attention for that imaginative play calling at the end of the Fiesta Bowl win over Oklahoma. There's a strike by Tharp and another first down. They continue to convert. That was 2nd and long, and Jeremy Childs beat Desmond Thomas for a 19-yard gain on 2nd down and 18.
Well, Elamimium gets sucked up into play action because Childs is going to hit right where Elamimium is supposed to be. You see Elamimium trying to jump, but too late. And when you have that type of cushion between the linebackers and safeties, taking candy from the proverbial baby.
Elamimium 14th in the nation in tackles, 10.6 per game. Ian Johnson lined up to take a direct snap in the quarterback position in the shotgun, and he got chopped down. Great reaction by Desmond Thomas and Solomon Elamimium.
I don't know if I like that with Boise, Sean, because Ian Johnson likes to have the ball deep in the backfield. When you take a direct snap and you're about 5 yards deep, it doesn't give him time to use his strengths. His strengths are his vision and his patience and his burst, and it doesn't allow him to set up the blocks. He's not a Darren McFadden back there. He's a tailback and a pounder and a slasher inside.
Well, they had a reputation for trick plays that was enhanced at the end of that Fiesta Bowl win over Oklahoma. That's a trick borrowed from Arkansas, mimicked by many teams around the country now. And Arkansas, the huge win in overtime today at LSU. Adam Leonard with the tackle on Ian Johnson. Gain of 1 on the play to get back to 3rd down and 10. Well, it's been quite a day. Texas saw its hopes of going to the Big 12 championship ended by A&M. Dennis Franchione steps down after the game. Mississippi State won the Egg Bowl. Great year continues for the Bulldogs, and LSU #1 in the country no longer. Houston Nutt with his job reportedly in jeopardy. A huge win on the road in Baton Rouge. 3rd down and 10. Tharp with a lot of time. Nowhere to throw it. Still looking. Has men now. 1st down. Ian Johnson out of the backfield inside the 2. And credit Tharp and the offensive line for keeping that play alive long enough to get somebody open.
Well, this is a good job of Taylor Tharp of staying patient and why he's in the cover 2 deep look. And they're just playing and locking up zone man to man. Ian Johnson staying alive right there, finding the empty spot in the zone. And Taylor Tharp trusting his guy to get open. Makes a tough throw across the body, but a throw that was on target.
1st and goal for Boise State. The touchdown and the extra point would give them the lead. The pitch to Johnson. Bounces into the end zone. Boy, did he read that beautifully. Touchdown Broncos. An extra point away from the lead.
And a great job of Putnam right there, sealing the outside defender, defensive end for Hawaii. Made the cut. One cut and easy for Ian Johnson, but Putnam doing his job right here. Watch him come and seal. He makes a nice little wall. Bronco gets the block. Putnam sealing inside. Well executed, and that's what they do and do it well.
An extra point play is a big factor in the recent meetings between these two teams. And here's Kyle Broxman with the PAT for the lead. The former walk-on redshirt freshman who's missed only 1 kick all year, a field goal, puts the Broncos up by 1. 69-yard drive in 5.5 minutes. Boise State with the WAC championship up for grabs, leads by a point. Best surfing in the world not far from Aloha Stadium. An outstanding football for this sellout crowd of more than 50,000. 81 degrees at kickoff with a gusty wind. You can really hear it through our microphones from time to time. It's a very high stadium all the way around. It doesn't seem to be as windy on the field. Certainly isn't having much of an effect on these two passers. Boise State nearly a 4-1 edge in time of possession. And Johnson's touchdown, the extra point by Brotzman, has put the Broncos back up by 1. Short kickoff, Ryan Mouton on the run. And he's out to the 33-yard line. Here's Quint Kesnick.
Sean, on that last drive down here, it really felt like Hawaii's defensive front got tired. Remember the 3rd and long where Tharp scrambled out to his right and found Ian Johnson on the goal line. Time of possession could be a key as this game goes forward. Boise with these long clock-killing drives, and Hawaii seems to be fatiguing up front.
Exactly right. Anytime you have to pursue and you're able to establish both the run and the pass, it does fatigue the big fellas up front. The good news for Hawaii, though, they can go 10 deep. But still, you've got to get off the field when you have the opportunity to get off.
Colt Brennan, after a 1-for-4 start, has completed 9 passes in a row, up to 153 yards, averaging 360 per game, but he played only 2 plays last week. That brought his average way down. He was over 400 before last week. Ryan Grice-Mullen, the intended receiver. Austin Smith was closing quickly, and it'll be 2nd down and 10. 402 per game prior to just the 2 plays last week. What a job Tyler Gronke did. The backup threw for 358 yards on 33 out of 46 to lead them to the win at Nevada against a very good Wolfpack team. And he took them in the final 2 minutes and 16 seconds from deep in their own territory to field goal range to set up the winning kick by Dan Kelly. Brennan throws. C.J. Hawthorne chopped down at the 41 by Jason Robinson, true freshman safety from Los Angeles out of Dominguez High School, where he was a linebacker last year.
Here's what Boise's doing. They're doing a good job of it. When they're balanced and have 2 wide receivers to each side, they're playing a zone. When they go a 3-1 look, they will play zone to the 3 receiver side and 1 to the back side. Hawaii's starting to recognize that. June Jones wish they'd play zone all game. They feel like they can pick them apart, but here in 3rd and short, they're going to man up and go athlete for athlete.
Running back is Kealoha Polaris, a freshman. He stayed in the block, and it's a 1st down to the 49-yard line to Ryan Grice-Mullen. He's a junior from Rialto, California. 8 yards and a 1st down.
Excellent read by Colt Brennan. Again, there's not too many things that this offense has not seen that they don't know how to attack. And if it's something new or unique, believe me, the man on the sidelines, June Jones, will have an answer in a heartbeat.
June Jones, one of 14 head coaches at this level of college football, who doubles as offensive coordinator and calls the plays. David Farmer is the running back. He stays in the block, and Brennan just did get it off, and it's incomplete. Broken up by Dallas Dobbs. Intended for Devon Bess. Well, it's quite a trio of receivers with whom Brennan has to work and with whom he's worked for a while. Combined entering today's game, Bess, Grice-Mullen, and Rivers, 739 catches for over 10,000 yards and 105 receiving touchdowns.
That's just a mind-boggling number to think how productive this unit has been, and the fact that they've stayed healthy, because they do take shots.
There are 7 active receivers in the country with 3,000 receiving yards. Hawaii has 3 of the 7. Brennan throws, and the yardage total grows for Rivers. He goes to the 37-yard line. Standrick and Robinson made the tackle, a 14-yard gain.
Starts up front with the protection, and Colt Brennan does a great job of pocket presence. This is what the NFL guys are going to look at, is pocket presence, where he'll move around, find the throwing lane, and you see Rivers not settling down. He has Ging coming over there, and he just scoots inside Ging, and Colt Brennan has the patience and the trust in his offensive lineman to wait for Rivers to go to the middle of the field, and he delivers on time.
Under 7 minutes to go. The shovel pass to the freshman Polaris. He's missed the last couple of weeks with a bad knee. He looked fully healthy there. Austin Smith made the tackle. Pilares didn't make the trip to Reno last week as he rehabbed the knee. His parents still went on the trip. He said they had a great time cheering for my team, even though I didn't play.
Well, it's a nice call by June Jones. I mean, that's the first real run that they've had. I know it goes down as an attempt, but basically an inside run. And when you have Boise pinning theirs back, coming for pass rush, it's a nice little changeup to slow him down a little bit.
13 yards on that completion. Pilares battling a sprained right MCL. He practiced with a brace during the week, but has taken it off for the game. Hawthorne retreated, cost himself a couple of yards. Went almost back to the line of scrimmage, a gain of 1. Austin Smith having a nice game at safety. The senior from San Bernardino, California, made the tackle.
You have a big play mentality like these wide receivers. Sometimes they make poor decisions. Right there, CJ. You got it at 5. Turn around and get 7. Don't worry about going the distance. Turn around and get 7.
This has been an important possession for Hawaii for no other reason, even if they don't score, and they are at least in field goal range, that they are keeping their defense off the field for a prolonged period of time, and they needed the rest. Second down 9. Hawaii on the move, down by a point. Under 6 minutes to go in the half. There's a strike by Brennan inside the 5. Touchdown, Devon Bess.
Kyle Gang can't hang. Right there, he's playing zone, nothing in front. You got to continue to get depth, and they're just picking them apart between that level of the linebackers and the safeties. Then you have a tough guy coming off the concussion, have people in his face, yet delivers a strike, and Devon Bess showing some power and determination.
And that extra point is deflected and no good. So it's the second missed extra point. This time Jason Robinson came through and got a piece of it. Well, earlier this season, Kelly made 50 extra points in a row. The Hawaii record, he broke Jason Elam's record. They blocked 2 here today. 19-14 Hawaii. And yet another one of the biggest games of the year in college football, and our TiVo combo to watch. 2 quarterbacks who have emerged as Heisman Trophy candidates. Be head-to-head in that game. Todd Reesing and Chase Daniel tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern on ABC. The winner of that game could well be #1 in the country after LSU's loss today.
Depending on what West Virginia does as far as points against Connecticut, they could bump above West Virginia in the BCS.
Austin Smith bringing back Dan Kelly's kickoff, trying to go all the way across the field. And the tackle made by Timo Peapule at the 15, perhaps the 16-yard line. Only 2 undefeated teams left. We're watching one of them here in Hawaii. Kansas is the other. Who do you like in that matchup tomorrow night?
Well, I like Kansas. I think they're having that magical ride, and no reason to go against them. They're great balance on offense, defense. They're physical. Missouri's a great football team. I'm excited about the passion of the game, Sean, the rivalry. I'm sitting here in this excitement. I can't wait to watch that one tomorrow night, and that excitement, and feel the fans in that one.
It's the second most played rivalry in the Division 1A. Only the 3rd time they've both been ranked at the time of their meeting, and there's no love lost in that rivalry in any sport in that border clash. 5 wide receivers for Boise State, and the pass is dropped by Titus Young, who had about 7 yards for a gain had he been able to hang on to it. Well, Hawaii leads 19-14. They've had 2 extra points blocked.
There's a zone blitz. We're only going to get pressure from the 2 outside guys. Watch the big 3 fellas all drop back in zone coverage, looking for the quick pass. Excellent execution. A good call by McMackin. Bringing 2 from the corners and dropping your 300-pounders into coverage. Fool them, Greg. Fool them.
Michael Lafayette deflected that pass to make it a tough catch for Young. Jeremy Avery in the backfield, and he takes the pitch and goes to the 20 for a pickup of 3. It'll be 3rd down and 7. Boise State is 6 out of 9 on 3rd downs today. Brad Kalilimoku made the tackle on the last stop. Greg McMackin loves his linebackers. Defensive coordinator in the NFL with the Seattle Seahawks. Spent some time on Dennis Erickson's staff in San Francisco as well. Tharp on 3rd and 7 throws an out route. It is caught, but short of a first down. Austin Pettis, the true freshman, tackled immediately by Gerard Lewis. The Boise State sideline wanted a flag for pass interference. We can't tell from here if there is one, but there are officials conferring right on the sideline. The bodies on the sideline are blocking our vantage point. That's a catch, but he's short of the first down.
Pettis did a good job because Gerard Lewis had a beat on it and a great break on the football. The ball was thrown outside and low where only Pettis could get it, because if that ball was mistimed or thrown inside, they're doing a in the end zone right now.
Their traditional Hawaiian celebratory dance. Here's Kyle Brotzman hunting to Myron Newberry. Brotzman's been one of the stories of their season. He walked on last year and redshirted. He was going to go to Montana State Northern on an academic scholarship. He didn't start kicking till he was a junior in high school. And how about this punt? And it takes a tremendous bounce. And they race to save it, and do, inside the 5-yard line. 72-yard punt. Dallas Dobbs helped rescue it.
Sean Scott pulled his hamstring, hustling down on special teams. You can see him grab his hamstring, and he pulled up. I mean, I don't know if he's cramping. Hopefully he's only cramping. You hate to see a kid get hurt without getting hit.
Iafallo, I believe, is the first player who got down. There's the injury on the shove that hurt Scott, and then Iafallo, special teams standout from Mountain Home, Idaho, stopped the ball from going into the end zone. They've marked it at the 3. 72-yard punt, the longest of his career for Kyle Brotzman. He continues to have an amazing season, both punting and place kicking, in a timeout. That's the view from out the back window of our hotel. It was tough to take ourselves away from Waikiki Beach, but if you have to leave, this is the right place to go. Aloha Stadium, WAC title outright on the line. Hawaii in 29 years, and the WAC has shared the conference title twice. They've never won it all by themselves. Boise State is trying to win it for the 6th year in a row, and for the 5th time outright. They've lost only once in conference since 2002. The Broncos lost at Fresno State in 2005. 46-1 their last 47 WAC games. Colt Brennan on first down from his own 3. Throws it out of the end zone to Devon Bess, who's out of bounds. Marked out at the 6, just beyond the 6. Chased out by Austin Smith. That touchdown pass, Brennan to Bess, was the 38th time that they have connected. And that is one shy of the Division 1A record of 39 touchdown passes. Tim Rattay to Troy Edwards for Louisiana Tech. So pretty soon Colt Brennan's going to have his name on another record.
Yeah, just and working and being around these receivers all week. Nobody complains about getting the football. Colt doesn't care. He's thrown to the open guy, and these guys bury their egos for the good of the team.
Brennan under duress, and just did get out of the end zone as Dallas Dobbs sacked him. First sack for Boise State, and like Hawaii, that's a staple of their defense. The Broncos are 20th in the nation at just under 3 sacks per game.
Yeah, he also dropped the football, and he landed right on it. Here comes Dobbs off the corner, beating Austin inside. Good job of closing. You see the ball shoot out of there. Great awareness by Colt to reach out and get it. Would have been a devastating turnover, but this is where the Bronco defense has to step up. They've had him pinned back before, and they couldn't keep him pinned to create field position for the O.
3rd down and 11. Out of the end zone again, and look out from behind. Brennan, is that a pass? Yes, incomplete pass. Ryan Winterswijk hit Brennan just as he threw it, but his arm was going forward. The ball went forward. It's incomplete, and the Warriors will have to punt out of their own end zone. The Broncos sideline wanted that to be ruled a fumble.
See Winterswijk coming off the right side again, way out here. We'll see what happens. And Colt's a little relaxed back there. You're in the end zone. You got to get rid of the football and just beat Ossoon with speed. You got to throw the ball away some.
Winterswikes, a former walk-on. Grasso's punt taken by Marty Tadman, and he brought it back about 9 yards. 40-yard punt. Cameron Carmona made the tackle. And let's check in with Reese Davis.
Mark and Lou are here. We'll see you in a bit.
I don't know if there's enough time to talk about everything you need to cover in college football right now as the developments continue to unfold. Two tight ends into the game for Boise State. Taylor Tharp, play action pass. Throwing deep to the far side, looking for Childs, and it's over his head. Myron Newberry at coverage. There are flags downfield.
Myron Newberry was beat, so he did the smart thing. I mean, if you're beat that bad, you hold on, you take your 15 and live to fight another down.
Holding, number 3, defense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
First penalty against Hawaii. They were flagged only twice last week at Nevada. They went into the game against the Wolfpack last week, the 3rd most penalized team in the country. So they've done a good job getting rid of the flags in the last 2 weeks.
So just to think about, we talk about 3 facets of the game. How big has special teams been for Boise so far? 2 blocked extra points, then a 72-yard punt, and the stand that created this field position for the Bronco Road.
Well, when you're winning virtually every game, you have to be sound in all facets, and Boise State is. Ian Johnson dropped for a loss, tripped up back at the 26-yard line by John Finotti. They roll in 9 or 10 defensive linemen. Blaze Soares also in on the play, and you love him playing with just about every injury you can have.
Yeah, you could see he's Dr. Bionicle Man right there. You see that? He's got the cast on, the shoestrings, the old leather. That's to keep his shoulder from rising above his head. But he's a tough kid, and he's only going to get better. Talking to Coach Mack about him yesterday. He's got a bright future in this program.
Shoulder injury, the biggest problem. He's battled a hamstring as well. Loss of 3 on first down. 2:36 to go, and the clock running in the half. A blitz. Tharp got it off, and it is caught by Austin Pettis. Looked like he was going to drop it. Hit off his hands, went back in the air, and he still corralled it. He's a freshman from Anaheim, the nephew of the former excellent Major League Baseball outfielder Gary Pettis.
That day stayed with the fly ball. I like what Hawaii's doing. What they're doing is they're blitz and forcing Boise to throw the ball early because of the pressure. They're bringing more than Boise can block. So for Boise to blitz and control, they've got to break their routes off, and Hawaii just breaks on them to make the tackle.
Pettis came out. He's been their leading receiver the last 3 games. Deafening noise and a blitz on 3rd down and 9. Tharp, end zone, and it is incomplete. And no flags thrown. Ryan Mouton broke it up. It was intended for Titus Young.
Again, the blitz and playing man. Athlete for athlete. Good job by the Boise team to pick up the blitz. The offensive line. Tharp missed the open guy. He had Hawkins open early. He waited for Young, which allowed Mouton to come through and make a play and get in the line of vision.
39-yard attempt for Brotzman. He's 10 for 10 inside 40 this year. 13 out of 14 for the year. Only 1 miss, and it was a block. And that one's good. We mentioned he's a walk-on. Here's a young man who his senior year in high school, just his 2nd year kicking, was 6 for 11 at Meridian High School in Idaho. He was going to go to Montana State Northern for an academic scholarship and try to kick there at an NAIA school. Boise State invited him to walk on. He took it, and he might win the Luke Rosa Award as the best kicker in the country.
Well, and again, when you have coaches that maybe are I'm not saying he didn't get good coaching in high school, but certainly at Boise State you're going to get some of the best coaching. And he had the strong leg, and a lot of times when you recruit on potential, and if he's got the strong leg, we'll fix him up on his accuracy.
Well, they've had success with walk-ons through the years. Brotzman was an honorable mention all-league player in high school as a wide receiver, and he's helped save their season. He made 2 field goals against Nevada. One as regulation time ended to force overtime, and then he kicked one at the end of the third overtime when he had to make it to push the game into the fourth overtime, which is when Nevada won that game in the fourth overtime 69-67 in the highest scoring Division 1A game in history. Brotzman kicks off to Keenan Jones. They like his aggressiveness as a return man. He ran over the kicker. And a flag down to the 34-yard line.
Silly flag. You're blocking behind the ball. That's where discipline has to take over. You negate a great return by a silly flag of blocking behind the football. Once that ball goes to the next level, you go to the next level.
Holding, number 45 of the return team, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
Flag comes in late and you're blocking behind the football. If that ball's away from you and you're a blocker on the return team, you turn and go the next level. Don't worry about the guy behind you. Worry about picking somebody up in the chase and in the hunt on pursuit.
Well, they have two number 45, so it's either Jason Lamole or Spencer Smith. We'll give them both the benefit of the doubt. Colt Brennan from his own 25 throws incomplete. They've been pressuring him with regularity. The pass, I believe, was incomplete. They might roll that a catch for a loss on the play. I think it is.
Dallas Dobbs read the screen. That was the screen the Farmer.
Yep. The Farmer caught it.
With Dallas Dobbs making the tackle before he caught it. But the point was the ball was on its way and it was behind the line of scrimmage, so Dallas can go ahead and hit the receiver before it was caught.
Dobbs had a nice game. A low snap. Under a minute to go now in the half. Hawaii with all three timeouts. Devon Bess runs out of bounds at the 31. A gain of 6. It'll be 3rd down and 4. Austin Smith chased him across the sideline. Big game for a lot of the reasons we mentioned, and a big game for June Jones. His contract is up at the end of this year. He said he would prefer to stay here, but he never says never. That even if he should leave someday as the coach, this will always be home.
Well, he's deserving of a new contract, and they're deserving of some new facilities. What a BCS game certainly help that.
Jason Rivers the catch. First down, a 3rd down conversion for Hawaii to the 43-yard line. 12 yards on the play. The clock stopped to move the chain, so June will not use the first of his timeouts.
You know, different page, same book, Sean. Where they hitting him? Right in between the soft spot between the safeties and linebackers, because linebackers are getting nosy.
Brennan is sacked by Dallas Dobbs and Ryan Winterswijk, who are well acquainted with Brennan now.
Yeah.
Second sack, but there's been plenty of pressure by the Broncos defense. Just the 23rd time this year that Brennan's been sacked. They average giving up only 2 sacks per game, and they've thrown it over 500 times this year.
Well, a little bit of that is on Colt Brennan. Normally he doesn't get sacked because of his release in reading the defenses. He's holding the ball a little bit long. And right now, the speed off the corners for Boise, the offensive lineman can't handle. The tackles can't hold up that long, so he's got to get rid of the ball a little bit quicker.
A very good offensive line. June Jones says it's the best that he's had in his 9 years as head coach. They want to keep him here as the coach. The 5 years before June Jones got here, they won a total of 12 games. They've won 74 in his 9 seasons, 11-3 last year. And they won the Sheraton Hawaii Bowl in this stadium over Arizona State. And here they are 10-0. Best start since 1925 when they finished that season 10-0.
Yeah, and you see that draft pick number. That's going to grow along with the victories as long as he's here. It's amazing he does it on a $50,000 a year recruiting budget.
They don't go to the mainland to recruit. This is ESPN does our recruiting for us. They concentrate on recruiting the islands. That pass is intercepted. What an athletic play by Mike T. Williams. Only a few feet from Colt Brennan, and a great reaction by the junior from Sacramento.
You're right, because what first he does is play off the cut block. When you run the screen, the first thing you want to do is chop the defense's hands. Right there, you see the chop block, but he doesn't get him on the ground. Mike T pulls off the rush, gets the deflection, and has the wherewithal to bring it in. But that's lack of execution by the offensive tackle. If you're going to chop him, you drive your helmet through his kneecaps. You don't fall to his ankles. You got to get him on the ground or the play's dead.
34 seconds, all 3 timeouts left for Boise State. At least poised in field goal range to take the lead at the half. They're looking for more, and Tharp throws down the seam behind his receiver, and that's intercepted. And now they wave it off. The official behind the play says Desmond Thomas didn't catch it. It was intended for Julian Hawkins. So after the first Hawaii turnover on the interception thrown by Brennan, his 13th thrown this season, Tharp almost threw it back.
And that's a blown coverage or missed assignment by Hawaii because he's wide open.
Well, the crowd saw the replay you saw, and initially it looked like a catch by Desmond Thomas, but as you can see, it did pop out at the end. Junior from Vallejo, California, and they're going to review it.
Saw Boise's reaction shot, and they were rushing up to that line of scrimmage, so there's a little bit of concern from Coach Peterson.
The previous play is being challenged by Hawaii.
Well, they're going to challenge it. This would be a big call. From that angle, you can't determine whether or not Thomas has possession. Once his back's turned to us, we lose sight of the ball. Certainly looked like he caught it cleanly off the ground. The question is, did he maintain possession of it?
Well, his body shields us from the angle. The field judge who made the call is in back of him, and he certainly had a look at it because he was the first one to originally come in and wave it off. Looks like he has it there. Now I can't tell if his hands are underneath the ball, and as he flips, the ball comes out. I don't know if he had possession on the flip.
Well, it has to be conclusive to overturn, and as you said, those officials behind the play had a good look at the ball, and they said no interception. I would think this call will stand.
He said, I can't see it. That was the sign that he gave. The back judge made, or the field judge in the corner of the end zone first made the call. Then I saw the back judge come in from over the top and confirm the field judge's call.
Ruling on the field stands. Hawaii recharged the timeout. Their second charge timeout this half. Second down.
Well, that'll challenge the aloha spirit of these fans. That's been the big issue here all week. There have been front page articles all week here about good fan behavior. June Jones taped a public service announcement. There have been advertisements running in the local papers encouraging the fans to behave themselves, don't throw objects, and exhibit good sportsmanship. Apparently some Fresno State fans 2 weeks ago complained that they were not treated well, objects thrown at them. And the fans have been very well behaved here today. Tharp, a play action pass, and a bullet too high over the head of Jeremy Childs. Desmond Thomas, who nearly had that interception a moment ago in coverage.
That's 2 passes right now that Taylor Tharp has been way off on. Unusual for him, being a 69% plus completion rate guy. One sailed high and one was behind. Settle down and get in rhythm.
5th-year senior, back up the last few years to Jared Zabransky. Taylor Tharp, 3rd down and 10. From the 32, it'll be a 49-yard field goal for Broxman from here. Tharp, it is incomplete. Popped out of the hands of Childs. Looked like it might have been deflected en route. Myron Newberry, a very good corner, had the coverage.
Elamimian was the one to be able to get the deflection. You can see right there, good job of getting vertical to tip that off, causing the incomplete. Chris O'Neal was open on the other side, and Taylor had his mind made up where he was going with the ball before he was able to read the defense.
Brotzman's long is 47. So this would be a new career long, and it would give them the lead in the final seconds of the half. And it is no good. Just his second miss in 16 tries this year. So Brotzman, not long after taking that hit from Keenan Jones on the kickoff return, didn't put quite enough of a hit on the football here to get it through. Snap was a little low. Tanyan Bissell did the best he could to get that hold down, but the kick was just short.
That's actually a great job of getting that ball down.
Yeah, the snap looked better upon further review.
And the timing was still messed up a little bit. And Brotzman could not drive the football along the field goal.
Well, Brennan trying to fire up the fans as he and the Warriors head to the locker room with a 19-17 lead. Now, Reese Davis, Mark May, Lou Holtz. It's the college football halftime show. And welcome back to Aloha Stadium, a sellout crowd. It's been sold out for weeks. More than 50,000 in attendance. They've been into it from well before the start. They watched Colt Brennan establish a record all by himself with his 122nd career touchdown pass, moving out of the tie for the top spot all time with Ty Detmer. They also watched Ian Johnson score the first touchdown of the game on a 50-yard run. He had 75 yards in the half. But Chris, they got 50 yards on that run. The rest of the half for Boise State, 19 rushes for 19 yards. So with the exception of that play, they didn't really run the ball at all.
Well, and the Warrior defense has answered the challenge. But if I'm Boise, I still got to run, not for Ian Johnson's sake, but I think it helps get Taylor Tharp in a little bit of a rhythm. When he's just dropping back and throwing the ball, he made 3 poor choices on the last 3 plays of the half. He has to get back into his rhythm. And more importantly, if you're Hawaii, you got to slow down that pass rush of the Bronco defense because they're getting shots on Brennan that he shouldn't be taking.
Hawaii had 2 extra points blocked in the first half. So often when you miss an extra point, it comes back to haunt you. We'll see if that's the case for the Warriors, who will get the ball first here in the second half. Malcolm Lane back to take the kickoff from Kyle Brotzman. One half to be played to determine the WAC outright conference champion and keep one of these 2 teams alive in a potential bid to a BCS bowl game. Keenan Jones brought the kickoff back to the 29-yard line. A 22-yard return. Here's Quint Kesnick.
Sean, first of all, the bad news for Boise on the injury front. Tad Miller will not return. Rashawn Scott, cornerback, he will not return. Spoke to Chris Peterson, was not completely happy with their run game, feels they need to get in a little more rhythm there. Liked the pressure, though, that they got on Colt Brennan late stages of the second quarter. For June Jones, deja vu all over again, complaining about his special teams play, pointing out that that has been the difference in this series the last 2 years.
Indeed, it has been. Brennan was a little bit off target his first few throws of the game, but then settled in. Went 20 for 27 for 241. 2 touchdowns and 1 interception in the first half. He goes out of the shotgun, and it's a shovel pass to Kealoha Polaris, former Hawaii High School State Player of the Year. Originally accepted an appointment to the Air Force Academy, but was not there for very long. Decided he didn't want to go to Colorado Springs. Came home here to play for the Warriors.
That shovel pass is designed, as Quint mentioned, the pressure that Boise's been bringing. Hopefully, if you run the shovel pass, if you're Hawaii, that will slow down the pressure from the front 4 of the Broncos, who are bringing it every single play.
3-yard gain on the shovel to Polaris. Hawaii leads 19-17. The opening minute of the second half. Oh, that run after the catch by Devon Bess. First down and more. Out to the 44-yard line, a gain of 11.
Did a little Ricky Bobby shake and bake on him right there. A little Talladega Nights. Dallas Dobbs has him in sight. And here comes the shake with the bake. Again, this is what he does best, run after catch. June Jones compared him to a stronger Andre Bad Mood Rising.
Yards after the catch up to 110 for Hawaii. Chris Peterson won't be happy with that number. He felt it was a key to the game. Tackle those receivers after the catch. You know they're going to get their catches. Devon Best gets another one to the 41-yard line of Boise State. Marty Tadman, the All-American candidate safety, made the stop. He's their leading tackler for the year. Out of Mission Viejo, California. Now a senior. Young man who talks quite candidly about his battle with drugs and alcohol about 3.5 years ago. And totally changed his life. Is now a preacher. And is going to devote his life to the ministry when his football days are over. He'd first like to play in the NFL.
He's a good, solid football player, a smart football player.
Another quick throw and catch, and it's Jason Rivers down the far sideline, tackled by Austin Smith. But Hawaii impressively on the move to begin the second half. They're quickly at the Boise State 25-yard line.
Yeah, with time, he's dangerous. I mean, and Colt Brennan, again, I want to make this point because I made it in the first half, and I want to make it to those that are watching in the second half. You can say system quarterback, non-system quarterback. I'm here to tell you from my point of view, nobody's as good as he is that I've seen in the country because he's accurate, he's on time, and that ball is delivered with velocity.
And a very quick release. Ryan Grice Mullen takes all he can get and goes out at the 22-yard line. Here's Quinn.
John, I called Mel Kiper early this morning, and he's like a cup of coffee with his energy, talking about Colt Brennan. Said he loves his quick release. It's a little sidearm, accurate, has the NFL arm. Question marks are that he is a system quarterback. He says there have been run and shoot guys in the past who haven't fared well in the NFL. David Klingler, Tim Couch, and the big question mark, he said last week when Tyler Gronke played, he put up big stats, and it's a tricky evaluation. He thinks that the All-Star games and the Combine will make the difference for Colt Brennan. Right now he has him as the 7th-rated senior QB.
All right, Quinn, thank you. He swings it out the left flat to Devon Bess. Run after the catch. Leap into the end zone. Touchdown. Flag down in the end zone. Jason Rivers gave Bess a great block. And that's the 39th time Brennan to Bess for a touchdown, tying the all-time record. Now shared with Tim Rattay and Troy Edwards of Louisiana Tech. I think he's going to get penalized for unsportsmanlike for that unnecessary dive into the end zone at the end of the run.
It's guys helping guys. Position helping position. Rivers was the guy that gets the assist on the touchdown. But it's Colt Brennan reading the defense, delivering the ball in stride so he doesn't have to work to catch it.
Dead ball after the touchdown. Unsportsmanlike. Offense. That will be administered on the kickoff. 15 yards.
And Rivers springing away for his partner, Devon Bess.
On a junior from Oakland. Spent some time as a young boy in a juvenile detention center. Actually, while he was in high school, he was going to go to Oregon State, got in some trouble, some friends, stole some goods. Bess says he unknowingly was helping them move it from one place to another. They all got in trouble. Bess wound up in a facility, and he sent a 7-on-7 tape from a football scrimmage from the juvenile detention center to Hawaii to get their attention. The extra point good. It's a 9-point lead for the Warriors. Here, Kuro, HD TV.
That might become part of our workout routine right there, Sean.
He looks like he's been on the Spielman workout plan. Looks like a dangerous occupation.
Got good feet, good hand-eye coordination. Just really not a very smart play, to say the least, by Devon Bess. I understand emotion, but you have to be able to control your emotion because you put your team in difficult position, and Boise's had some good returns throughout tonight. They're going to get the ball here at least at the 45-yard line.
Ball teed up on the 15 because of the unsportsmanlike penalty. Dan Kelly, line drive kick that bounces out of bounds. Austin Smith let it go out. So 70-yard scoring drive by Hawaii. Best, the touchdown, is second of the night. He's gone over 1,000 yards receiving for the year with his 94 tonight. He's the first Hawaii receiver to have 1,000 in 3 seasons. All 3 of his seasons so far, and all they've done is combined for 19 catches. Getting close to their typical numbers, but really not there yet.
Just impressed with all of them and their knowledge of the offense. And Bess, the one thing he does that I have not seen a receiver do all year is catch every single ball, no matter where it is, with his hands. He's the best guy that I've seen that uses his hands constantly. And a good move by Boise, forcing Hawaii to kick it again.
If they get penalized once more, he might be kicking it off from the concession stand behind the end zone. The ball's on the 10-yard line. And the deepest men back for Boise State are standing at their own 25. Austin Smith with Keith McGowan.
That's the thing that kills you. I mean, those are mistakes that you must avoid. And June talks about special teams. Well, if your special teams need help, don't do Willinda brothers flying flips into the end zone. Give your guys a chance to play football.
It was a hot dog play in the biggest of all possible games. Been billed as the biggest game in school history. June Jones concurs with that. Carl Benson, the WAC commissioner, with whom we'll visit here in the second half, says it's the biggest game in the history of the conference. Not only is the outright title going to the winner of this game tonight, and by the way, they have made championship T-shirts and hats at the conference for both teams, so one box of souvenirs will likely get thrown away. And here it is. Took off at about the 4 and scored the touchdown, but got the 15-yard penalty. The officials are trying to figure out what to do now.
Well, normally on a normal kickoff, if the ball is kicked out of bounds, the ball is placed at the 35-yard line. Now what they're going to do is look like to mark the ball at the 50. Because of the 15-yard penalty, they will add 15 yards from the 35 to account for the ball being kicked out of bounds on the penalty.
And Boise decided to decline the penalty, so Boise State takes over, down 26-17. First possession of the second half for the Broncos.
Not sure about that. I think I'd make them kick it again. That's a long way to cover, and those guys just covered one kick, so they were sucking air a little bit.
Well, it's hard to pass the 50-yard line. Starting field position. Taylor Tharp, 13 for 23, an interception, threw for 156 in the first half. They try to get the run going again, and Ian Johnson can't get away from Clay Soares. A gain of 3 for the junior Johnson from San Dimas, California, near Pasadena. His mom, a special education teacher, his dad, Sterling, a Los Angeles firefighter. They've made the trip over here to enjoy the Thanksgiving holiday with Ian and his wife, Chrissy. Most football fans remember Ian dropping to a knee and proposing to Chrissy right after the Fiesta Bowl win over Oklahoma. They were married in the summer. Jeremy Avery down to the 41-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and a yard. Solomon Elamimian made the tackle. There's Chrissy right in the middle of your screen, working for a property management company in the Boise area to support Ian.
Ian's younger sister sitting beside her. She came over. Gaylord came over to make the trip. Just a family affair.
She's still a cheerleader, just not on the squad anymore.
Waiting to see a herky or a boy jump.
And they give it to Ian Johnson, and he got smoked. Walloped at the 42-yard line by David Vekune.
and a host of others. Greg McMackin.
Solomon Elimimian.
Yes, sir. The Greg McMackin told us he's going to keep it simple. Why do you keep it simple? Because you eliminate thought and you let your Warriors play. And you fly and keep great gap responsibility. And not only 1, 2, 3, but count them, 4 H's with making the stop.
Boise State took a while to ponder it. They're going to go for it on 4th down. 10 for 20 this season. Entering the game, and 1 for 1 on 4th down tonight. Play action on 4th and 2. A man wide open in the flat. Richie Brockel to the 26. That was a busted defense there. There wasn't anybody near Brockel. Desmond Thomas made the tackle, but it's a 16-yard gain and a 1st down for Boise State.
Yeah, Adam Leonard came off the coverage. Brockel's going to be in your picture right here. He's going to sneak out and run a nice little wheel route. And you're going to see Adam Leonard. He's on him. Then he comes off his coverage because he's worried about Tharp. You can always break up on Tharp, but you've got to stay on your coverage. And Adam Leonard, as soon as that ball was thrown over his head, it was one of those, oh no, that's my fault.
Well, the drive is alive for Boise State. Under 11 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. They're down by 9. Avery bounced off the pile and showed his explosion. 1st down. Now to the 15. Myron Newberry made the tackle on the redshirt freshman Avery, who did a nice job filling in those ball games while Johnson was hurt. Jeremy has 3 games of 100 or more this year out of Bellflower High School in California.
He's 5'9", and he hides behind those 6'3", 6'4" offensive linemen. Those guys are kind of tough to pick up.
Avery's nickname's Peanut. They stopped calling that because his mom didn't like it. Johnson faked the handoff on the reverse and gets back to the line, and that's about it. Ryan Mouton held his ground. Elimimian ran over there as well. Back into the bag of tricks again for Boise State. But the Hawaii defense, Chris, doing what Greg McMackin said they wanted to do. Nothing real fancy. Stay in their base defense and just be in good position to deal with all these tricks and the shifts and formation changes.
Yeah, again, and you know, I don't want to feed the stereotype, but the more you can eliminate thought from the defensive player, the more aggressive defensive player you will have.
Tanyan Bissell has come in at quarterback. And you wonder if Hawaii's called a timeout, or are they just going to reset the play clock? That's all it is. There was a ball that had come out on the field. Bissell's the holder. He's listed as a wide receiver. And a little trickery. Johnson gave it off on the inside to Avery. And Ryan Mouton made another tackle. Play down near the 10-yard line. They'll spot it closer to the 7-yard gain. 3rd and short.
And anything to get it going, and Jeremy Avery has shown a little bit more of just a different type of back with a little bit more speed and burst. Ian's your slasher pounder with breakout ability, but this kid's that water bug, quicker than the hiccup type back.
Johnson's been mentoring these young backs. He said he learned a lot from the people he played behind, particularly Jeff Carpenter. Johnson on 3rd and short. Doesn't look like he got it. Well, those officials are not at the yellow line. That usually is right on. They're going to measure it. You can see Chris Peterson starting to hold his hands apart. I think he knows they're inches short. And if so, will he go for it again on 4th down?
Well, the previous 4th downs, he threw the football. I think if you're short, it's going to be by such a little bit. You got that big body in Taylor Tharp with it behind big offensive line. You sneak the ball. It's a yard
well short. Only a half yard.
You kick the field goal, Sean. You make it to a 6-point game.
Yeah, it's a 1-score game, and I think that's important. But the other part of it is you kind of anticipate a shootout in a Hawaii Boise State game, although these defenses are better than they're given credit for.
Yeah, they are. But I'll tell you, Hawaii, according to that last drive, They've got their rhythm, and they've got their music.
Yep. And they're going to go for it. Chris Peterson has the entire offense over to the sideline. Tharp is coming back in at quarterback. They converted on 4th and 2 a moment ago.
I sneak it.
Tharp's a big guy too, sneaking with over 200 pounds. That's 6'2". He comes out throwing. It's Brockle again. Touchdown.
Trust, baby, trust. Trust your plays, trust your players to execute. 3 for 3 on 4th and 1s. All 3 passes.
And Brockle, the man on both 4th down plays.
Again, you have to read his angle. He's not coming to block. His shoulders are high. He's getting out to the flat. You get an over-anxious, over-pursuing defense. Easy pickings for Taylor and Brockle.
4th touchdown catch of the year for Richie Brockle. First thrown tonight by Tharp, his 28th touchdown pass of the season. And the extra point by Broxman gets Boise State within 2. And a long way to go. 9:03 left in the 3rd quarter with the WAC title up for grabs. Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman, Quint Kesnick. Hope you're having a great Thanksgiving weekend. We're thankful to have you with us. And thank you for the great leadership of our producer, Josh Hoffman, our director, Jeff Evers, and our outstanding ESPN technical crew. What a pleasure it has been. We're thankful to have the pleasure of working with these wonderful people all season long. And what a game we have for you. Little post-Thanksgiving treat. WAC conference title on the line. Hawaii by 2 after the Boise touchdown. They took advantage of the short field after the Hawaii unsportsmanlike penalty. Caden Jones lost the ball, but he was down at the 30-yard line. Time for a SportsCenter 30 at 30 update on this busy day. Here's Bill Pito.
All right, Sean, chaos in the BCS again as Arkansas shocks #1 LSU. They needed that 2-point conversion to get to a 4th overtime. Didn't get it. Arkansas wins it 50-48. Dennis Franchione has stepped down elsewhere as the head coach of Texas A&M. He is done. SportsCenter right now on ESPN News, and SportsCenter coming up after the NBA on ESPN. Back now to Sean in Hawaii.
All right, Bill, thank you. Colt Brennan, 311 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. As he stands under center, he's thrown an interception. He's 26 out of 33. Hawaii has rushed for 2 yards in this game. Brennan intercepted. Threw it right into the hands of Dallas Dobbs. And the run back to the 23-yard line. Dobbs has had a huge game. The junior from Las Vegas, who's a little older because he did a 2-year Mormon church mission in Argentina back 2001 to 03. When he came off that mission, he weighed 180 pounds. He's bulked back up to 220, and what a big play he just made.
Yeah, Colt takes it for granted, thinks he can fire it in there. He looked at Pilar's trying to hopefully draw Dobbs to the outside. Dobbs playing good discipline, just cuts in front of the curl. One in front, one behind. Dobbs knew one was behind and made a good catch on a fastball from Colt.
3rd interception of the year for Dobbs. 2nd thrown by Brennan tonight. Now Boise State poised to reclaim the lead, and it's Ian Johnson who put them ahead 7-0 with a 50-yard touchdown run to open the scoring tonight. He went for a few. Keala Watson made the tackle. Junior from here on the island of Oahu. Got married a couple of weeks ago to his high school sweetheart, Leona Wright.
What a way to celebrate. Nice honeymoon to a BCS trip would be nice for them, wouldn't it?
Would indeed. Both teams hoping for that eventuality. Here's Jeremy Avery, and oh my goodness, he got run over. It's Blaise Soros, who for a lot of reasons is one of Chris's favorite players we've seen this year, and now you particularly understand why.
Well, yeah. If Blaise is going to deliver slobber knockers like that, I'm all over him. All he does is shoot the gap right here and watch him keep his eyes up, see what he hits what he sees, and brings his feet on contact and coming with bad intentions, and you put him on your back. That's the way to do it, Blaise. Woo! Man, I love that. Oh!
battling hamstring injuries and shoulder injuries that have his arm in a harness. Now 3rd down and 11. Tharp takes off. Oh, he took a wallop again. This one from Elamimian. Well, whoever said they play finesse football on the WAC hasn't watched these two teams play.
And Elamimian got him square, and I think Taylor fell. I mean, he's trying to make a move. Watch, he's going to lose his footing a little bit. This is a great open field tackle by Elamimian, and he keeps his head up, shoulders square, and brings the heat.
Now a field goal attempt to recapture the lead for Boise State. Kyle Broxman from 37 yards. How good is he? Boise State with 10 unanswered points. That's Dick Tharp, Taylor's dad. Happy to see his son get up and the Broncos on top.
Boise up in this ball game, and a couple key notes from their sideline. Their secondary now with some injuries catching up to him. Rashawn Scott earlier, we said he was out with a knee injury. Orlando Scantrick, starting cornerback, left arm in a sling, and he is done for the day. That adds to Jerron Johnson, who did not dress today at all. And after that last hit, Chris, you saw Taylor Tharp working out his right shoulder. The trainers are looking at him right now, and he continues to try to loosen up his right shoulder after being popped on that last play.
All right, Quint, thank you for that excellent information. Broxman's kickoff down to Malcolm Lane. In this back and forth game, Hawaii down by a point now, and those 2 blocked extra points loom large. Brandon Thompson will probably play more in the secondary down there on special teams to run Lane out. Thompson's a backup DB.
Well, let's take a look how this affects the play calling of Boise's defense. Why? Because Scandrick was their best man-to-man cover guy. Remember when Hawaii goes 3-1, they put Scandrick on a single receiver side and lock him out. Let's see if Boise is forced to play more zone now, which Hawaii, I promise you, will pick apart.
Brandon Thompson, true freshman cornerback from Elk Grove, California, number 38, is out there for Boise State. And Colt Brennan under duress takes off. And Dallas Dobbs, another nice play. His interception just set up the field goal that put Boise State back on top. But give that Hawaii defense credit. After the Brennan interception, Boise State gained only 3 yards, had to settle for the 36-yard field goal.
And they've also substituted true freshman Daryl Acree in the ball game, maybe to get a little bit more speed. You remember Ging was having a little bit of trouble getting depth in his drops. Acree brings a little bit more speed, and Dallas Dobbs has a beat right now on what Hawaii's trying to do offensively.
Brennan dumps it off incomplete. A little too far ahead of Devon Bess. Well, for much of this season, WAC Commissioner Carl Benson and these two programs have been a bit frustrated by the lack of movement up in the rankings, despite the wins week after week. June Jones and these Warriors lingering right around 15th in the BCS, which is where they are now. 13th in the coaches poll, 14 in AP. Boise State is 19th in the BCS, and the big question a lot of the voters have, how good are they, because they haven't played strong schedules. Matter of fact, these two teams have the 2 weakest schedules in the ratings in the country. Boise State 118th, Hawaii 119th in strength of schedule. Rivers on 3rd down converts. Daryl Acree made the tackle. But I think when you watch this game, Chris, you see the speed, the athleticism, the talent, and you see 2 good teams against each other, you realize they are very good. All they can do is beat who they play, and that's what they've done. They are collectively 21-1.
Yeah, I look at these 2 teams, Sean, and they can beat anybody any given week. That's not a doubt. With the problem also with the weak schedule, what hurts them, besides Boise, Hawaii, and Fresno's on their way back, the rest of the WAC conference is not very good. Not very good at all. And that kills them. And their reputation.
Decent. Yeah. Louisiana Tech's had a very nice year under Derek Dooley, their new coach. Devon Best the catch. The ball to the 38-yard line. But I think when you see Boise State go to a Fiesta Bowl and win against Oklahoma last year, if Hawaii runs the table To me, they should get the opportunity to play in a BCS bowl game, particularly now where there's all these 1- and 2-loss teams all over the place who haven't done anything to make the point that they're significantly better than Hawaii.
You make a great point, and when you have talent, and we see a lot of players every single week. I watch tons of college football, and you made a great point about talent on both sides of the ball for Boise and Hawaii.
Brennan retreating, now finds a running lane and slides down at the 33-yard line. Of course, if Hawaii can finish in the top 12 in the BCS standings, they are guaranteed a spot in the BCS Bowl. Right now they're 15th. Or if they can finish in the top 16 in the BCS and finish ahead of one BCS conference champion, they'll get a spot in a BCS Bowl. So they have to hope for things like Connecticut to beat West Virginia, and then maybe not be in the top 16 in the final BCS Bowl. Connecticut's 20 right now, but if they beat West Virginia, they're probably going to move up.
And that or Ohio State getting into the national championship game, which will eliminate a Big Ten team from the BCS Bowl.
You continue to pound that drum, and it is more realistic with the results. LSU losing today. Jason Rivers tackled by Ellis Powers. So here's the traffic right around 15th ranked Hawaii as we look at the all-state ESPNU BCS standings. Boston College has Miami left, and then the ACC championship game. Hawaii should jump over Texas after their loss at A&M today, so that would move them at least to 14th, you'd think, but a lot of times Hawaii wins and they drop.
Yeah, Boise won and dropped last week. Tennessee jumped them. I mean, they're two good football teams, and all you got to do is watch the film and compare it to other films, athletes and players on both sides.
And Tennessee needed a last-second field goal to beat Vanderbilt, and still left over Boise State. Ryan Grice-Mullen down to the 11-yard line in this back-and-forth affair. Hawaii in position to reclaim the lead. 11-yard gain. Ellis Powers made another tackle. Backup linebacker who can also play in the secondary. Junior from Lakewood, California.
Yeah, he seems to be hurt bad. I mean, I saw his players, and I don't know if they're overreacting because of the emotion, but they were waving emphatically for the trainers to get on to the field. But besides the fact that he got hurt, it was, again, receivers helping receivers. You have Devon Bess springing Grice-Mullen for the big run. I don't know if he got a shot to the ribs. He got a knee to the chops and nose. I think he's okay as far as the ribs go, but you'll see the knee come through late right here. Take his face mask off and rubbed his nose and chops pretty good. And right in the chiclets.
Grice-Mullen heads off after his 5th catch for 55 yards. The other two with that amazing trio, both over 100 yards. Good to see Ryan running off. Bess 9 catches, 111 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Rivers 9 catches for 104 yards. Meaning as a trio, they now have 49 career games combined of 100 or more yards receiving.
They've all thrown blocks for each other tonight. Key blocks.
June Jones thinks they'll all play in the NFL. 4:10 to go, 3rd quarter. Colt Brennan. Fastball low and away. Intended for Malcolm Lane. It'll be 2nd and 10. June Jones survived a near fatal car crash in February of 2001. Says, I'm still sore every day when I get out of bed. Early on a weekday morning, ran into a abutment here in the Honolulu area. And the folks who witnessed the crash behind him, the EMTs who responded, were amazed he was alive. And if you see pictures of the car, it is amazing if he's alive. Serious internal injuries. Brennan throws, caught by Jason Rivers. And when you go through an experience like that, you appreciate even more moments such as these. Chance to lead a school in a state he loves. In one of the proudest moments in the history of athletics in this state. They love their Warriors here in Hawaii. And this is a chance to have their proudest moment ever as a program.
Sean, I had the good fortune to come over here and be a part of a football game, and the people of Hawaii are passionate about the great game of football, and it's shown here tonight.
3rd down and 5. They can get a 1st down at the 2. Brennan throws quickly, and it is Jason Rivers with Kyle Wilson, a starting cornerback, draped all over him.
Well, it pays to have strong hands. Again, they go the fade stop. Kyle Wilson, pretty darn good coverage, but it's trust between Rivers and Brennan. And watch what I talk about the strong hands. Watch Kyle Wilson's hand go up and try to play the hands of Rivers, but his arm strength is able to secure the ball. Once he secures it with two hands, he puts it in one hand to get it out of the reach in the probing hands of Kyle Wilson.
31st career touchdown for Rivers. Hawaii will go for two. They've had 2 extra points blocked. They'll go for 2. Try to make it a 7-point game. That's not a clear-cut decision in this situation with this much time left. But given the extra point problems, why not? Brennan back of the end zone, incomplete. Looking for Devon Best with 2 defenders near him. Marty Tadman came over to help the cornerback who's now playing regularly, the freshman Brandon Thompson, out there with the injury to Orlando Scandrick. You see this so often, Chris, when a team misses an extra point or 2, it affects them the rest of the game.
Yeah, you have to go for the 2, and the reason why that ball was not there because the ball was thrown late by Colt Brennan. There's a breakdown in protection. You let the defender come in from the inside. That time they get it from the outside. And if you can block an extra point from the outside, that means the get-off time is slow. Never should that be done. But breakdowns in special teams also cost them valuable field position that Boise State converted into a touchdown off a 72-yard punt, and they were able to hold Hawaii to a 3-and-out. Created great field position for themselves, and they converted.
2 years ago in this matchup, Boise State scored on an interception return, a punt return, a blocked field goal return, and a blocked extra point return, and won by 3. Last year at Boise State, Hawaii boxed 2 extra points, just as they have tonight. One of those was returned by Boise State. And that was in a 7-point game. Boston Smith. Whoa! One of the Warriors went hurtling up and over, head over heels. Smith went down to the 32-yard line.
And I don't know why 45 went up head and over heels, because you accomplished nothing but taking yourself out of the play. You don't even take blockers out of the play. What you have to do is go and explode into the wall. Don't go over the wall.
With 2 number 45s, as we said earlier, yeah. So we still don't know. I think that's Jason Lamoli. It could be Spencer Smith. Tharp throws incomplete, broken up by Gerard Lewis. Intended for Jeremy Childs.
It's a good job of Jeremy Childs not quitting on the play. Good throw by Tharp, again on time, hitting Childs out of the break. But Lewis showing good bursts and finishing.
A lot of interesting connections between Taylor Tharp and this Hawaii program. He's from Boulder, Colorado, where Colt Brennan started his career as a freshman. Taylor Tharp's dad, Dick, was the athletic director back then. Tharp throws, caught by Jeremy Childs, out to the 37-yard line. Taylor Tharp, out of high school in Boulder, was going to come here to Hawaii. Took a visit. He liked it. And June Jones said he's our kind of passer, very accurate. But at the last minute, Alex Brink, who had committed to come to Boise State as a quarterback, changed his mind and went to Washington State. That opened up a slot at Boise for Tharp, and he elected to go there instead of Hawaii.
Something to be said about a 5th-year senior waiting his turn and playing great football.
5-man rush. Tharp stumbles down. Back at the 33. Second sack, and it's Blaise Soares again.
Pretty good job of protection, but Hawaii just playing with reckless abandon, and Taylor's got to make a decision. Either I throw the rock or I tuck the rock and run. Right here, make your decision. You see Blaze Soares. Clady's got a good hold on him, but Blaze Soares is playing with passion tonight. And he's getting some help from Clady, who kind of blocks him in to Taylor Tharp. Taylor, make your mind up. Throw a run. Let's go.
Kyle Broxman the punt. Under 2 minutes to go, third quarter. Hawaii by 5. Rugby punt. They thought it might be a fake, so the deep man, Devon Best, came up, and the ball soared over his head. Last week, Broxman on a fake completed a 30-yard pass on a fake punt. So Hawaii was thinking that might be the case again, or that Broxman might run it. Best wasn't back deep enough to get the punt that rolled down to the 15-yard line. 52 yards. Rivalry week presented by Remington continues on ABC Saturday, 3:30 Eastern time. The Connecticut Huskies, one of the great surprises in the country this year, playing West Virginia with the Big East title on the line. West Virginia now perfectly positioned to get into the national championship game with a win. Others may see Georgia, Georgia Tech, Oregon, UCLA. Check your local listings for the regional coverage. Saturday at 3:30 on ABC. Since losing to South Florida, West Virginia's been outstanding. Brennan out of the gun. Shovel pass. Kealoha Polaris, the freshman, on the move across the 30 and out to the 34. Tackled by Brandon Thompson and Jason Robinson. Two players who ordinarily be backups in the secondary, but out there now due to injury.
This is what Boise has to do, Coach Wilcox, on the defensive side. Anytime you're getting aggressive, understand on first and second down, you have to have your inside people power rush and look for the shovel pass. That's how they set you up and slow you down the rest of the drive, is run the shovel.
Justin Wilcox, youthful defensive coordinator. Both coordinators are 30 years old on Chris Peterson's staff. Wilcox, a fine player at Oregon. Brian Harsin, the offensive coordinator, is 30. And that ball a little too high for Jason Rivers. 59 seconds to go. Third quarter. Pulsating action here at Aloha Stadium with the WAC Conference Championship on the line. These two teams both 7-0 in conference play. And this is the conference finale for both teams. The last regular season game for Boise State. They come in at 10-1. Hawaii's 10-0. They'll play Washington to close out the regular season next weekend here.
Schleckaway was hanging on Colt Brennan's legs, did not allow him to follow through, which caused the overthrow. Schleckaway's been a force all night.
Brennan throws, caught, plenty of room. Devon Best hurdled one would-be tackler who was diving at his legs and went all the way to the 34 of the Broncos. Jason Robinson finally got on the ground, but that's a 28-yard catch and run by Devon Best.
It's a great athletic move by Devon Best. Kyle Wilson, I'll tell you what, come up and make a play. Grab your arms. Don't go down there and tackle ground up rubber. Keep your feet, grab your arms, and see what your target is. And Best got that little shake and bake on him. I'm telling you, he's got a little shimmy to him and power.
149 yards receiving on 11 catches. 2 touchdowns for Best. Runs a 4.4 40 at 5'10", 190 pounds. Brennan forced to step up. Wings it deep. Man behind the defense. Touchdown, C.J. Hawthorne.
What do we talk about, Sean? Skandrick's out of the ball game, right? You got true freshman Thompson right there. CJ on a nice little move, takes him inside. Colt Brennan throws away from the coverage and throws CJ open, and I'm telling you, he does not miss.
38-yard touchdown pass. Kelly kicks the extra point with 26 seconds to go in the third quarter. 85 yards in just a minute and 6 seconds. It took only 4 plays, and the 38-yard touchdown pass to C.J. Hawthorne, the senior from Gulfport, Mississippi. This is the 3rd time we've seen Hawaii in person. You and I are already believers that they're a very good football team. You can understand why there are doubters given the schedule that they played, but they can only play teams who will agree to play them. They've had teams elect to drop off their schedule. But I think they're winning over some believers. They have to be with this performance against the Boise State team that's been so good for years now.
Well, you got to look at the execution. And if you haven't seen Colt Brennan, or you don't think he's just assistant quarterback, watch his film or TiVo this or Devo or whatever you do, replay it and look at the accuracy and the velocity and the timing of the football. The guy, I don't care what you say, he's a great quarterback. He's going to have a bright future in the NFL.
But he's not just a one-man band. He has a deep core of receivers, a very good offensive line that June Jones says is the best that he's had in 9 years, and a defense that has made remarkable improvement with a lot of good athletes and beautifully coordinated by Greg McMackin, who said yesterday, please give the credit to my fellow defensive assistants because they do the lion's share of the work. Austin Smith muffed the kickoff, barely stayed in bounds, and now it's a Boise State special teams problem as Smith did not make the 5-yard line. Ryan Keomaka made the tackle.
Well, I want to say real quick something about Boise. They're champions. They can handle pressure. They know what it's like. They believe in each other and they believe in their system. Now, if I'm Boise, the first thing I do right here is I hard count Hawaii's defense. If you hard count them right now, I can 99.9% sure you're going to get in the jump and you're going to buy yourself a cheap 5.
Just over a quarter to go, and this sellout crowd is starting to think about the possibilities of an outright WAC title and a trip perhaps to a BCS bowl game. But as Chris said, other teams have made the mistake of counting out this Boise State team prematurely. Ryan Putnam got him a little breathing room, and that'll be the final play of the 3rd quarter. Back and forth they go. 39-27, the Warriors after 3. Almost every fan at sold out Aloha Stadium standing as we go to the 4th quarter. Hawaii looking for the 3rd WAC championship in their 29-year history in the conference. Their first outright, leads by 12, and Boise State converts on 2nd and 3 on the first play of the 4th quarter. Taylor Tharp to Julian Hawkins for the first down.
If you're Boise, you stay with your game plan. Short passing game, short passing game. You see if you can get the underneath coverage to bite a little bit, then you start hitting the 17 to 20-yard plus route.
6 lead changes in the game. 4 of them in the back and forth 3rd quarter. They go to their best offensive player, Ian Johnson, for 3. He finished 8th in the Heisman balloting last year. Brennan was 6th. And if Brennan doesn't get invited at least to New York this year, there's something seriously wrong.
Well, especially the Heisman Trophy has been a lot like the BCS standings. I mean, there's different front runners. Guys, Reesing comes out of nowhere, is now in the hunt. And Colt Brennan could put himself back in the hunt tonight. Missing 3 games, essentially, is going to hurt Colt a little bit.
There's numbers this season. Matter of fact, we mentioned earlier the passing yards per game down because he played 2 snaps last week, but that counts as a full game. Jacob Patek, the injured safety on the field for Hawaii. Last year, Colt Brennan led the country in a great number of passing categories, including passing yards and touchdown throws. and yet didn't even get the trip to New York.
And the sick number of 58 touchdowns. I mean, that's arena ball numbers right there.
An NCAA record for a single season. Played Arizona State and Alabama last year, so the argument about the weak schedule didn't even apply. 2nd and 7. Quick screen to Jeremy Childs. And he's short of a first down by about 2 yards. Childs was actually recruited to play basketball and football at UCLA. Committed to go to the Bruins, then had a change of heart. Came to Boise State, did a redshirt year.
I love the energy coming from both teams, and both of them are playing with such a dynamic sense of urgency. They're getting after it. Everybody's flying around. The big linemen are running downfield trying to cut off blocks. The green helmets are running all over the place. We got ourselves a game.
Tanyan Bissell back in at quarterback. Well, he's in the backfield actually to throw a pass, and it's incomplete. That's why they put him back in there, lined up at running back. He's surprised by the trick play on a really important 3rd down and 2.
You don't need it on 3rd and 2. I mean,
you need a first down.
Yeah, you had the play action on 3rd or 4 third downs where you hit the fullback in the flat on 3 of the 4 fourth down plays you had. Trust your training. You don't need to trick them. We just got done talking about how everybody on that Boise sideline believes in their players, believes in the coaches, and believes in the system. Go to what you do best.
4th punt for Kyle Broxman. And he just did get it off. Rugby style and almost ran into a rusher. Byron Newberry let it roll. Austin Smith downed it. 48-yard punt. In this wild college football season, Kansas and Hawaii, the only 2 remaining unbeaten. There'll be a new #1. Certainly Kansas if they win against Missouri tomorrow. LSU, if you missed it, lost in overtime at home to Arkansas today. Hawaii, a 12-point lead and the ball. From their own 24, 1st and 10. Colt Brennan zips another strike to Devon Bess. Good for a 7-yard gain.
Where the Boise defense has to rise up and play like the champions that they are. But they're limited a little bit. Remember, they're down 3 defensive backs. Now, normally you can cover for that if you're playing against a normal offense. But here you're playing against 4 wides, and they're throwing the ball every single down. It puts a lot of pressure on those cover guys.
One of the criticisms of this run and shoot offense has been time of possession. June Jones said when the Houston Oilers ran it in the NFL one year, they led the NFL in time of possession. Polaris stayed in bounds, got the first down. Ryan Winterswijk made the tackle. Hawaii this year has averaged just 27 minutes and 30 seconds of possession time. They're going to lose the possession battle here today, but when you're leading the nation in scoring, that's kind of a meaningless stat.
Well, it is, and Coach McMackin understands that. He's worked for coaches who throw the ball. He knows the drill, so he works on turnovers, getting off the field on 3rd down. June said in our meeting, hey, if the defense complains, tell them to get off the field. Stop them.
Hawaii has led the WAC in passing offense and been in the top 5 in the country in each of June Jones's 8 previous seasons, and it'll make it 9 in a row this year. When all is said and done, Kealoha Polaris tackled by Kyle Ging. And actually a designed run. What do you know?
Second one tonight.
Officially credited with 8 running plays, and that was the 9th. And here are the numbers in recent years. These 2 teams have been right near the top in total offense nationwide.
Of course, Boise State does it with such great balance. Hawaii does it with their unique but dangerous offense.
Yeah, Hawaii's 2nd in passing in the country behind Texas Tech, 115th in rushing, whereas Boise State is 17th in passing, 23rd in rushing. Much more balanced. But Right now, it's the pass-happy Warriors who have the lead. Jason Rivers tackled by Brandon Thompson. That's good for another 7, another first down across midfield to the Broncos 49.
Yeah, you can see June Jones right there. He and Colt Brennan are in the zone and in sync with each other. And June, out of the blue, called 2 run plays. You run the quick hitch over here to Rivers, which is basically a toss sweep.
Brennan, a veteran quarterback, letting the play clock run down under 10 seconds. Could have taken even more time. Zips one deep, and it is behind his intended receiver. Good coverage on the play by Kyle Wilson, running basically step for step with Jason Rivers. And here's Quint Kesnick.
Sean, there's a lot of different ways to signal plays in your quarterback. With June Jones and Colt Brennan, it's really about reading lips. I mean, Colt Brennan comes over to about 15 yards. Here he is. Looking at June Jones. He can't hear him. There's no way he can hear him. Let me tell you, it's still loud right now with these Hawaii fans sitting down. And he reads his lips, goes back into the huddle, and makes the call. It's pretty amazing.
Well, when you talk about communication and being in sync with each other, these guys spend so much time together. June is right there with Colt in the film room, on the practice field. They know what each other like and what each other want.
They're already spending time looking at things that Brennan will be dealing with as an NFL quarterback that he might not necessarily see in a game for Hawaii. June Jones, in addition to preparing him to play in these games, also trying to prepare him for life at the next level. Devon Best the catch. He stayed in bounds. The clock will run under 11 minutes by the time they snap it again. And this is the reason why Brennan decided to stay in school. He came very close to going into the NFL draft after his junior season of a year ago, after leading the nation in total offense, touchdown passes, pass efficiency, completion percentage, passing yards, and yards per game. But he felt there was more to do here in Hawaii, a place that has become home to him. They're on the verge of accomplishing some of those goals if they can finish the job. On 3rd and 2, Best did stay beyond that yellow line, nearly retreated and gave up the first down. Well, here is a surgical, time-eating drive being engineered by the run and shoot offense. Well, June Jones has said a number of times, if the Warriors go undefeated, he thinks they will be invited to a BCS game, and he thinks Colt Brennan will win the Heisman, because he said for us to win these last couple of games against Boise State and Washington, Brennan will have to play at a Heisman Trophy winning level.
Well, he's playing at that right now tonight with the numbers that he's putting up with 481 yards and 5 touchdowns. But I think him missing basically 3 games is going to hurt his chances.
Maybe in another year, but in a year like this where nobody has stepped forward, he's having a chance for some Heisman moments. And that was a pretty nifty 3-yard scramble, and he got down in bounds. Dallas Dobbs, the tackle. There's an injured Boise State Bronco back at the 47-yard line. I can't remember a season that has been this wide open in terms of the Heisman Trophy at this juncture late in the year.
Yeah, and Dennis Dixon, to me, was the clear-cut front runner and had that horrible injury against Arizona with the ACL. Tough loss. You hate to see that happen to that young man. Pat White at one time was out of it. Pat White has really picked up his game and has West Virginia in the hunt for the national championship and the Big East championship. Darren McFadden went off today against the #1 team in the land, against LSU.
All year long on ESPN.com, a panel of experts been engaging in balloting each week. Tim Tebow leads right now. But both Chase Daniel and Todd Reesing have a great chance to make a case tomorrow, with a lot of attention on them. Colt Brennan with his opportunity here on national TV tonight, and certainly Darren McFadden helping to key that Arkansas win today is going to jump up as well.
And Tim Tebow, I don't want it to go unmentioned what he's been able to do. The only player in the history of college football to throw for 20 and rush for 20. That's an amazing stat.
So it's supposed to go to the best player. And in my opinion, the best player is Darren McFadden.
Well, I think the NFL draft will confirm your opinion right there. He is certainly the best player, and what Adrian Peterson has been able to do, I think, brings new value to that type of game-breaking back.
Mike T. Williams walked off the field under his own power. 9:40 to go, the clock running. Hawaii leading 39-27. The winner wins the outright WAC Conference Championship and stays alive with an eye toward a possible BCS bowl bid. Hawaii, should it win, would be 11-0 for the first time in school history. Winners of 12 in a row, dating back to their bowl win over Arizona State here last year. Yoloa Pilares carried and Ian Smart tackled him. And it'll be third down and about 5. And undoubtedly, Hawaii, should they win this game, will pick up supporters in the polls.
I would think so. And you know they're watching tonight for that very reason, to see what Hawaii's made of. This third down, you're either going to go to Rivers right here, who's all alone on the single receiver side, working one-on-one against Kyle Wesson, or it's been Best Time, who's in the slot. But that
Yes, the run and shoot can be ball control this drive more than 4 minutes, and it would have extended had Ryan Grice Mullen come up with that. Rare time that Brennan's receivers let him down. We watched practice for a couple hours yesterday, and we didn't see a ball hit the ground all day.
And it's not only their top 4 with Hawthorne and Bess and Grice Mullen and Rivers, it's all of them. Look at June's actually contemplating going for it on 4th down. I first kind of a bad call right there. Got a little bit greedy. You got Bess, work him out in the flat and let him do his magic with the ball in his hands.
June's going to call timeout. Let the play clock run down a little bit, even though the game clock wasn't running. Just gives him a little more time to think about what he wants to do here. Looks like they're going to go for it. On 4th down and 5, they would be in long field goal range. It would be about a 50-yarder for Kelly. Hawaii could take a huge step toward a WAC conference championship right here. 4th down and 5. Brennan sacked. Big play by the Boise State defense to get the ball back on downs. Ryan Winterswijk, who's had a terrific game putting pressure on Brennan all night, credited with the sack, and Boise State takes over. They did a nice job, Hawaii, running time off the clock, but they did not score any points after an 11-play drive.
See Winterswijk coming inside, gets a good power rush, and is able to finish Colt Brennan. But not surprising, the Bronco defense, they're champions. They're not going to die. They're going to keep fighting until the very end. Now their offense needs to hold up.
Daniel Bissell's at quarterback. They go out of the shotgun on 1st down. He runs an option pitch to Jeremy Avery, who turned the corner and got out to the 47-yard line. Solomon Elimimian made the tackle. That last Hawaii possession took 4:40 off the clock. And Elimimian, their leading tackler, is down on the sideline, 14th in the nation in tackles at 10.6 per game. They don't want to play without him. 8.5 minutes away from a possible WAC conference championship.
See, they're buying themselves a little bit of time. Good hustle by Elimimian, coming, laying out. I think he got a foot in the gut. That's usually the case if you're diving. That heel will come up and get you right in the stomach to knock the wind out of you. See right there, that heel came right up into his gut.
Desmond Thomas's teammate landed on top of him as well. The officials are going to wait for Elimimian to get a little bit further away from the playing field. Junior from Los Angeles, one of the best in the country. So much attention on the Hawaii offense over the years, but this is a defense that is going to begin to get its just due as well. Earlier this year, 20 tackles in a game against Utah State for Elimimian. Ian Johnson pulled down for a loss. Timo Pepule, who just came in for Elimimian, made the tackle, and the clock runs down near 8 minutes remaining.
That's a sign of Hawaii's growth. We talk about the depth of Boise State. Right there, Timo comes in, plays his responsibility, and makes a play.
Taylor Tharp Fifth-year senior, first-year starter, waited a long time to play in games like this. Now he has to make plays, and he does. A bullet to Jeremy Childs. He beat Gerard Lewis to the inside. First down. 16-yard gain to the 38.
Well, they run the skinny post right here. Lewis comes in and undercuts it and actually gets his hand there. He just loses his balance. Childs, great concentration, uses that big body to box him out.
And that pass in the direction of Childs, again incomplete. Childs over 100 yards receiving on 8 catches tonight in the game in which he has set the single season record for receptions, now at 82.
Coach Mack staying aggressive. Lots of zone blitzes. They're being able to get pressure, but they're protecting against the deep ball.
Elamimian back on the field. 2nd and 10. Midway through the 4th quarter. A screen. Ian Johnson, a great move at the line. And has a first down. It was Elamimian who ran him down, but that's good for 11. And Tharp has them briskly on the move, trying to make it a 1-score game.
Yeah, they screen away from the 3 receiver side. You get the defense out there adjusting. You get the big hawk mollies down there getting bodies on a little guy. Nobody accounted for the speed of Elamimian.
You'd have to think at this juncture, they're in 4-down territory throughout the drive. A field goal really doesn't no good. They'd still be down by 2 scores with time running out. Tharp throws short for Julian Hawkins. Nice tackle in space by Eric Robinson, a backup defensive back, junior from Dallas, Texas.
Taylor Tharp is going to come back, and he's going to look for the tight end sitting over the middle. He's been wide open 3 times in a row. He has not yet to see him. Somebody in the box has got to whistle down there and say, hey, look for the tight end, Taylor. Be patient. He's coming open with nobody around him.
Tharp, a communications major, will graduate next month. Would like to get into coaching. 2nd down and 6. Hit as he throws, and a wobbly ball over the head of Jeremy Childs with Myron Newberry in coverage. Eric Robinson came on a safety blitz and put the hit on Tharp just as he threw. Boise State has won 5 straight WAC titles. That streak in serious jeopardy now. They've won 9 straight games this season since their only loss back in September to Washington. The only loss in 2 seasons for Chris Peterson as head coach. A blitz on 3rd and 6. Tharp with time, and it's broken up. Intended for Childs, it's Ryan Mouton, who's been a standout in the secondary for Hawaii tonight.
That's the deep comeback route. Taylor Tharp has an awful long throw to make. It's a good throw, but Mouton right on the hip pocket of Childs, reading his mail and coming up. Good job of avoiding the contact and getting the long arm around there and avoiding contact on the back.
Have to go for it on 4th down, and you have to think they have to make it with an eye toward the WAC title. Down by 12 and time running out. They're 3 for 3 on 4th down tonight. Tharp under duress is stripped. Ball's out. No matter what, Hawaii will take over at the 35. Josh Leonard recovered it. And it looked like David Vekune got to the quarterback and knocked the ball free.
Pure speed, Sean, and energy, and this is why Hawaii can bring 10 defensive guys right here. Vekune is going to come, and let's see what the move is that he uses. Lady messes up, miscommunication, and you're coming and they do a good job of stripping the football. Well, actually, no. John Fonoti comes in and makes the play.
Vekune was there too, from the front side, and Fonoti from the back.
Clady had a misassignment. He blocked down, nobody's coming. He didn't get out quick enough. Wide open lane to Taylor Tharp.
David Farmer, their power running back in their running back rotation. Those guys can get a little bit lonely. They don't get the ball very often in the run game. Dallas Dobbs made the tackle, but it's an 8-yard gain. Greg McMackin conferring with some of his defenders, but you can see on the looks on those faces they are starting to sense it.
They are, again, the fresh bodies. Finoti making a play. Bakune's been in there all night. Elamimian doing hustle plays. Again, Boise needs to stop. Champions die hard. They're going to keep playing till the very end.
The crowd chanting BCS. Farmer again. Oh, and a big tackle by Mike T. Williams, who looked off a moment ago. Looked like a certain first down for Farmer, but he got him on the field apparently short of the first down. It looks like they might measure with the ball just across the 45-yard line, but clearly he's short.
Pilares was in there. That ball was out for at least a double-digit gain. Farmer not quite the speed, but the reason he's in there is because eventually they're going to start slinging a rock. And he's done an excellent job in pass protection.
Well, he's won 11 straight games, matching the school record set back in 1980-81 when Dick Tomey was the coach. They've won 14 straight WAC games, the school record. Their last conference loss was at Boise State last year. In September, they won their last 7 WAC games last season, their first 7 this year to set up the matchup of 2 7-0 conference teams, completing the conference season with the title on the line. Kansas shares the longest active winning streak in the country. They're short.
Sneak right here behind the resident tough guy, John Estes. Physical presence at center. Colt Brennan, even though he has those skinny legs, they do have some power.
Last loss for Hawaii overall was in their final regular season game here last season, the 3-point loss to Oregon State, 35-32 on December 2nd last year. Third down, less than a yard. Boise State defenders right over the ball, anticipating a quarterback sneak from Brennan. He suffered a concussion 2 weeks ago. He spins and he appeared to get it. He did. It'll be a first down, a fresh set of downs, and the clock will run under 5 minutes before they have to snap it again. Boise State has all 3 timeouts left.
Good job by Colt getting the second effort and spinning, but the fact that he kept 2 hands on the football, understanding that the Bronco defenders are going to come in there and start raking at the ball to try to pop it out of there.
Here's Quint Kesnick.
Sean, Coach Jones just re-emphasizing to Colt Brennan, pointing to the play clock, saying, hey, let it run down under 10 or under 5. Let's milk this clock for all it's worth. The last 2 times Brennan has come over to the sideline.
Perhaps now less than 5 minutes away from their first ever outright WAC championship in 29 years in the conference. And ending a dynastic run of 5 straight titles by Boise State. David Farmer tackled by Nick Schleckaway. Here's a Sports Center 30 at 30 from Bill Pito. All right, Bill, thank you. Here, Boise State has used a timeout, leaving the Broncos with 2. 4:40 to go. And second down and about 3.5 upcoming. Here's Darren McFadden's day, 205 yards, and he has reemerged here in the late season as a legitimate Heisman Trophy candidate.
Just fun to watch him basically run the old Houston veer when they lined him up at quarterback. 2 split backs, running the option, and that was effective against the LSU defense.
Seems like every game you turn on, so much at stake. I mean, that game today, McFadden reemerging, Houston not fighting for his job, LSU knocked out of the national championship picture, Les Miles perhaps leaving to go to Michigan. I mean, here you have a WAC title on the line, Brennan trying to reemerge as a Heisman Trophy candidate, Hawaii trying to make itself a legitimate BCS Bowl contender with one game left after this next week here against Washington.
I hope the voters are watching tonight, Sean. And if they are able to pull this out against a darn good football team in Boise State, then there's no reason if they don't run the table why they shouldn't get their shot.
Yeah, the voters have to respect the resume of Boise State and acknowledge that this is an impressive win for Hawaii if it stays in the win column. Kealoha Polaris, the freshman, smart enough to go down in bounds. Marty Tadman made the tackle. First down at the 34-yard line.
You know why I know this is a team? Because his receivers, they block. And they block on the perimeter, and they block for each other, and they block for their buddies. They go as hard in blocking as they do with run after catches.
Brennan took the snap at 2. Short pass to Bess. And he's had a career night. That is his 15th catch. A single game high. He continues to add to an incredible resume. Another first down. 15 catches, 181 yards for Navon Bess, and 2 touchdowns. 181 yards, also a single game high for the junior from Oakland, California. Under 4 minutes to go. Polaris to the 14-yard line. Marty Tadman, the senior, made the tackle. The defensive MVP of the Fiesta Bowl win against Oklahoma last January. It's looking more and more like Boise State will not have a chance to go back to a BCS Bowl game for the second year in a row for Chris Peterson. They're down to their last timeout. 3:28 to go. With the WAC championship on the line, Hawaii leads by 12.
J-Rib. Have a great one, brother. Yep. I love watching you. Yep. Hey, you're the best there's ever been, brother. Relax, enjoy the moment, have a great game. I love you.
It's tonight's Coaches Talk presented by Liberty Mutual. Dennis McKnight, the Jesse Ventura lookalike.
Conan, ex-teammate of mine, throwing a lot of love out.
It helps control the emotional level of this football team, and a guy who has been here for quite a while with June Jones worked hard to get this program in the position it's in right now, on the verge of an outright WAC title. Under 3.5 minutes to go. 2nd and 4 for Hawaii at the Boise State 14-yard line. The Warriors lead by 12. Trying to remain undefeated for the year and go to 11-0. In addition to winning the WAC title, Kealoha Polaris carries. And the clock will run under 3 minutes. We're joined by Carl Benson, the outstanding commissioner of the WAC. Well, last year you had a great story. Boise State wound up the only undefeated team in the country at the end of the year and won the Fiesta Bowl. What do you think of your chances of getting Hawaii into a BCS Bowl game if this score stands?
Sean, we said all along that a 12-0 undefeated Hawaii WAC champion certainly should have an opportunity to play. I believe in the system. I think the system will prove itself.
You feel they've made quite a statement? We've been talking all night long. This is a good opponent they're playing.
It really is. I think this validates the season that they've had thus far, and hope that the polls will respect that.
Is it frustrating for you? We've talked about Michigan State opted out of a game with Hawaii. Texas in recent years has opted out. Hawaii's being penalized, it seems, for what's the weak schedule. At least the perception of it's a weak schedule. but yet all they can do is beat who they beat. And you made the point, they've won 3 games the last 3 weeks against good opponents, and yet they've dropped in some of the polls. You were quoted in USA Today the other day saying you were terribly disappointed by that development.
Well, surprised and disappointed, but again, the polls are volatile and they change from week to week. And I hope come Sunday that again the polls will recognize what they did here tonight.
How much does it hurt with the bottom half of the WAC isn't as strong as you would like it to be from a national perception?
Chris, I think that's valid, and we need to get better in the bottom half of the league. But the top half right now, especially with Boise State and Hawaii, Fresno State coming on, Nevada, we've got 4 or 5 very, very outstanding football teams in the WAC this year.
Third down upcoming here for Hawaii. 2:42 to go. And Boise State has used its last timeout. It'll be second down actually in 6. Well, you've been making the case very eloquently, and I read in the paper that you've actually used the services of a consultant. You've done a great job yourself getting the message out, but you wanted some help to make sure that your team's got a fair shake in the national eye.
We just wanted to make sure that we did everything we could to promote Boise State, promote Hawaii, and promote 2 outstanding players in Colt Brennan and Ian Johnson.
What I hope that the voters or the decision makers watch this game tonight like they're obligated to and see what kind of product was put out in the field this evening.
It's the type of game that I think we talked about and expected, a war out there between 2 very, very good football teams that deserve consideration for the BCS.
Second and 6. Polaris about 2 yards short of a first down, but now Boise State cannot stop the clock. Any more convincing you want to do while we have you here?
No, again, the BCS system was very, very good to the WAC a year ago with Boise State, and hope that Hawaii can finish next week against Washington and represent the WAC again, just like Boise State did a year ago.
And we should not put the cart ahead of the horse. Obviously, Hawaii needs to beat Washington, or it's going to be a moot point. But I think what Boise State did in the Fiesta Bowl certainly helps your cause, Carl. Congratulations on a great year for the WAC and for the great job that you do leading this conference.
Thank you very much.
It's Carl Benson. Third down and 1 for a first down. And they don't get the first down or the touchdown. They needed about 2 yards for the touchdown. And the clock continues to tick.
And I just think that the fact that they've been able to run the football on Boise this last drive, the fatigue factor is in there. I saw during one of the timeouts, Coach Peterson went out there, encouraged his troops, being the leader that he is. And Boise's hung in there all night long, but just the amount of weapons and offense that Hawaii's been able to throw at them ended up wearing the Bronco defense down.
This play could cement the WAC championship for Hawaii, and Colt Brennan wants to make sure. 4th down and 1 for a first down. And 2 for a touchdown. 1:09 to go. Let's send you back to the studio. Here's Bill Pito.
Okay, Sean, we're getting ready to take everybody out to Las Vegas. The Las Vegas Invitational Semifinals, Miami, Ohio against USC. The game is underway, and everyone will see that once you guys finish up in Hawaii. Sean, back to you for the final minute and change.
All right, Bill, thank you. Hawaii trying to win its first ever outright WAC championship. In 1992, they shared the title with Fresno State and BYU. And in 1999, June Jones's first year here, they were tri-champs with TCU and Fresno State. They finished second to Boise State twice under June Jones in 2002 and last year. In both of those seasons, they finished 7-1 with their only loss in the conference to the Broncos. So it'll be special to win it, but it'll be particularly special to do it against this team.
And it's just amazing watching out at practice. Just you would think that this team would be uptight yesterday. We watched them practice and they were just as loose as could be and ready and felt like this was their destiny. And frankly, tonight they proclaimed and claimed what their destiny is, and that's WAC champions outright.
4th down and 1. Polaris might have gotten the first down. Almost looked like he took for granted he was going in the end zone. You heard the crowd roar. They thought he was in, but it does look like he got the first down based on the spot. Jason Robinson prevented the touchdown.
Yeah, I think
he slows down.
Slowed down a little bit, and what a hit put on. And the Bronco defenders not quitting, but the initial hit put in by Robinson coming up and stopping the momentum. Pilaris probably thought he was going to go in.
He was Cadillacing. He thought he was in. Robinson and Kyle Ging said no. Ryan Winterswijk there as well. They're going to measure. You know, it's really just as well. They don't need any more points. But if they had scored, they'd have to kick off. Boise State wouldn't be able to come back had they scored, but they aren't going to be able to come back now either. And I would think Hawaii, out of respect for this great champion Boise State, will just take a knee. Greg McMackin loves June Jones. Coached here his first year with June in 1999. Left, went to the NFL and Texas Tech, and has come back. And he said, I want to stay with this great man, an outstanding coach, for as long as he'll have me.
If I'm Hawaii, I start working on that contract because he's built this program again.
The price to keep him just went up. And if they do get to a BCS bowl game, let's hope they spend some of the money on facilities here, because, folks, if you saw their practice field and their office buildings, you'd be amazed that they could have this kind of success with their facilities in, quite frankly, an embarrassing state of disrepair.
Boise was proud champions tonight. They fought hard.
Their regular season will end at 10-2. And their run of WAC championships will not extend to 6 years. The University of Hawaii Warriors, for the first time in the history of the program, are outright WAC champions. Their third conference title in all in 29 years. They are 11-0 for the first time in school history. They've now won a school record 12 straight games, a school record 15 straight WAC games, and they have made a major statement to the voters and Holt Brennan to the Heisman voters as well, as he threw for 495 yards and 5 touchdowns tonight. Still one game to be played, and it'll be wild here next week. Here's Quint Kesnick with June Jones.
Thank you, Sean. Coach, what does this win mean for your program?
Well, it's huge. You know, we set out at the start of the season to get to these final 2 games undefeated, and we knew what it was going to take. We're going to have to do that to beat Boise. I'm proud of the guys. They hung in all year. We've done it against all odds, and Colt Brennan's the best football player in America.
How can you characterize his play?
Well, he played very well. You know, he had the bad thing happen to him on the interception, but he came right back and put us in the end zone. These kids have a never say die. It's been awesome.
Boise's up 27-26 in the third. What made the difference late third and into the fourth?
Well, Cole went down and put the ball on some of the receivers right away. And, you know, the kids made plays. Devon and Ryan Grice-Smolin, and the catch Jason Rivers made in the end zone, just unbelievable.
Congratulations, Coach.
All right, thanks.
Sean, absolute mayhem down here.
Well, June Jones said yesterday, yes, this is the biggest game in school history. But he said if we win, next week's game will be the biggest. And that's the case when the Washington Huskies will come to town to try to spoil the Warriors' party. Final score, Hawaii 39, Boise State 27. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Coming up next on ESPN2, college basketball, the Anaheim Classic, part of Feast Week presented by Lowe's. Now for Chris Spielman, Quint Kesnick, and the rest of our ESPN2 crew, Sean McDonough saying, Happy Thanksgiving, aloha, and mahalo from Honolulu. Let's send you to Anaheim now.